Hi there, and welcome into the Commodores pregame show. I'm Severin Lavenstein alongside David Korzenowski. The Falmouth Commodores, they're back in action today for round 3 against the Cotuit Commodores. But first, David, we need to talk about that win against Hyannis yesterday. Falmouth getting back on the right track.
Yeah, after a 14-0 loss to Bourne 2 nights ago, they get exactly what they needed. A 7-run win against Hyannis, 14 hits, lockdown pitching. They got back into the winning ways.
And let's talk more about that pitching. Strickland, fantastic. Alstrom in relief. Both those guys going out on the right note. Their last performances, and they saved the best for last.
Absolutely. As Sam Strickland had 6 innings of work, 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts. That's his best line of the summer. He had another pretty good one against the Cotuit Commodores. Robbie Alstrom as well. After a shaky start against Chatham, he comes out in relief, pitches his longest outing at 3 innings, gets an extended save, and strikes out 5. Both of them were magnificent.
And David, something we have to talk about as well, the offense, and someone who knows a little thing about both sides of the ball, offense and defense, Tyler Ross, he caught up with Katie Florio. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Tyler. David, let's talk a little bit more about that offense. I mean, you can't say enough things about Zach Deloche. He just continues to be one of the hottest hitters on the Cape.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that Tyler Ross was overshadowed last night because he had 2 doubles in his first 2 at-bats, as Katie mentioned. But you look at Deloche, he had 2 home runs, and they were... Home runs is an understatement, if that's even possible. He absolutely croaked them out into the right field fence at Hyannis. He shows that he has a lot of power, but he also has a .400 batting average, best in the Cape League. He can do everything.
Doing everything indeed from that 4 spot. We'll see if they can get more out of Zach Deloche today and the rest of the offense. For now, that's going to do it for David Korzenowski and Katie Florio. I'm Severin Lavenstein. Stay tuned. Our broadcast is coming right up. Lowell Park is the site for tonight's Western Division matchup between the Cotuit Commodores and your Falmouth Commodores. Good evening, everyone. Glad to have you along with us for this presentation of Commodores Baseball on the Commodores Baseball Network. I'm Severin Lavenstein alongside David Korzenowski. David, happy to be here broadcasting with you for round 3 between these two teams. Let's jump right into the lineup. Leading off, it's going to be Hayden Cantrell at second base. Blake Dunn in center field follows him up. Then Zach Deloche, the man of the hour after the last game, in right field, followed by Trey Cruz in the 4 spot at shortstop. Troy Claunch, number 24 at catcher, then Taylor Smith, the DH, Jackson Coots, then rounding out the order, Steven Moretto at third, Austin Maisel in left field, and Nick Nastrini doing the pitching. David, happy to be here with you.
Oh, yeah. Matchup number 3 between these two teams, as you touched on, and so far it's been all Falmouth. They had a home-and-home on July 3rd and 4th. Commodores won 6-1 at Gov Fuller Field, and then 4-1 here on Independence Day. So the Commodores having the Kettler's numbers early so far this season, trying to make it a clean 3-0.
Opposed today by Sean Sullivan his last time out. He took the 3-inning loss to Falmouth on July 4th, giving up 3 runs. This will be his 3rd appearance. He's 0 for 2 with a 4.50 ERA. Going against a very hot Hayden Cantrell. Sullivan looking for redemption in this one. As we mentioned, round 3, and I think at this point, these teams sort of know who each other are and getting ready to do some damage here, both offenses, as we get ready to start this game.
Yeah, and Sullivan, who's on the mound for Cotuit, as well as Nastrini on the mound for Falmouth, are pitchers that have pitched in this matchup. So Sean Sullivan started on July 4th, as you mentioned, got the loss, and Nick Nastrini starting on July 3rd, getting his first win of the summer.
We're ready to go. First pitch is going to be a ball low to the inside. Hayden Cantrell digging in from lefty batter's box against Sullivan. Sullivan from the windup, quick and into the delivery, goes back to the spot a little bit higher, and that's a strike, 1-1 your count.
Sullivan really got hit around his last time on the mound against the Commodores. 6 hits, that was the most he's let up in an outing all summer. The Commodores got to him early.
1-1, back to the inside corner for a strike, 1-2 now to Cantrell. Hayden hitting .351 on the season in 74 at-bats, 26 hits. 4 doubles, 12 RBIs for the leadoff man. Sullivan misses low. Count's going to run even at 2-2. Kettleers in their signature pinstripe white uniforms. Falmouth Commodores in their road blacks tonight. Pitch bounces in the dirt. It's going to be 3-2 now to Hayden Cantrell.
Cantrell doing a good job working a full count. He's seeing a lot of pitches. We see him sometimes swing at the first pitch.
3-2. Hits the outside corner. That's a strikeout for Sullivan to retire Cantrell as his first batter, his first victim of the night. Cantrell didn't like it, a little far to the outside, but nevertheless, a strikeout to start the first batter.
Yeah, and Sullivan's a strikeout pitcher. He's got 15 Ks on the summer compared to his 4 walks. It was a close pitch on the outside part of the plate, but in my opinion, too close to take. Got to be swinging the bat there if you're Hayden Cantrell.
Brings up Blake Dunn, the .283 hitter. Swings at the first pitch he sees, off speed, and can't connect, so strike 1 for Blake.
Dunn out of the lineup last night for the first time since mid-June. He's back in at the 2 spot.
Man from Western Michigan looks at strike 2. A little bit of a long pause before stepping out to reset. Now down 0-2. Dunn will dig back in and try to regroup against Sullivan. He has his sign into the windup, the pitch. Inside, strike 3 called. Back-to-back strikeouts. Blake Dunn can only watch as he begins the long trudge back to the dugout. And quickly, 2 successive strikeouts for Sullivan. And now Zach DeLoach will head to the box with 2 men out.
Yeah, and that's a break for Sullivan because setting up on the outside part of the plate to the righty Dunn was the catcher, Colton Kessler. He wanted that pitch low and away. Instead, it was high and in. Dunn laid off, and it was still a strike.
First pitch to DeLoach. He goes the other way with it. This one slicing foul. Zach DeLoach, of course, the man with 2 home runs from yesterday. He now leads the Cape League in average at a .400 clip. Zach, so mild-mannered, so calm and collected, and also very humble, and he was that yesterday even after his great performance. 0-1, looks at it on the outside corner for a strike. He's not happy with that as the Falmouth batters are trying to adjust to the zone early on.
Yeah, that's Mark Piantadosi behind the plate, calling the balls and strikes. Right now a wide strike zone, and top 3 batters for Falmouth all unhappy with some of these calls.
0-2, goes outside, no luck there. 1-2 now the count.
Fastball from Sullivan coming in at 90 miles an hour, so says the radar gun, which pops up on that scoreboard out in left center.
Sullivan kicks, deals high, gets DeLoach, retires the side in order, all with strikeouts. Not a bad start for Sullivan as the Commodores can't come up with anything in the top of the first. We'll head top second right after this.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Back now for the bottom of the first inning. Nick Nastrini getting ready to start off. And first, we are going to look at the Cotuit lineup, starting with Nick Gonzalez, then Aubrey Major in right field, Casey Schmidt, the third baseman, four-hole Colton Kessler at catcher, then Joey Loperfido, the DH, Mason McCorder at first, and rounding out the order, Cam Hill in center, Christian Robinson in left field, and Adam Oviedo at shortstop.
It's a good top of the order from Cotuit. Gonzalez, one of their best contact guys, 326 average, but he has plenty of power too. 7 doubles, 2 triples, and 4 home runs, followed by one of the hottest bats on the team in Aubrey Major. He doesn't start every night for the Kettleers, but he has been great when he does. 413 average.
To that point, David, there's been a little bit of shuffling in that Cotuit lineup since the last time these two teams played, including Loperfido going from 2 to 4 and Robinson 3 to 8. Nastrini has his sign. The first pitch kicks and deals just a bit low to Troy Claunch as 1-0 the count now to Nick Gonzalez.
Nastrini also with a 4.50 ERA. He got a win against Cotuit on July 3rd in 5 innings of work. Gave up just 1 earned run on a home run, walked 1 and struck out 3.
Nastrini ready with the 1-0, off speed, in there for a strike.
And Nastrini's first outing of the summer was against YD, just 3 innings of work. He's a UCLA Bruin, a rising sophomore, and I think one of the best pro prospects on this team.
1-1, too far inside.
His fastball has a ton of zip to it. He has so much room to grow, too. He's just going to be a sophomore next year, and he was pitching in the regional just about a month ago for the Bruins.
Nastrini looking in for a little while. Now he's got his sign. Into the windup, 2-1. This one lifted high in the air, left field. Going over is Maisel, but that's foul.
Oh, boy, that ball was crushed from Gonzalez. He almost had home run number 5. He got under the ball, but it didn't matter. As Cotuit still first in the Cape League in home runs.
Gonzalez steps back in. Nastrini seems ready. The 2-2 pitch. High again. This one's skied. Foul territory, giving chase. Maisel at the line, and he makes the catch. That one almost all the way out to that 320 mark and ended up coming back near that foul pole, but Maisel ends up retiring him for the first out.
Same sort of swing from Gonzalez. He got the same sort of result. Didn't go as far. Was playable for Maisel. But off the bat, that went a couple hundred feet in the air. I mean, that thing was skied into left field.
Brings up Aubrey Major, the right fielder. Second batter for Nastrini. First pitch to him just a little low.
Major, a rising junior at Xavier. Stands at a mighty 6'6", 205.
Looks every bit of it. 1-0 pitch, chased it in the dirt. Good pitch from Nastrini, and Major needs to step out and reset, maybe adjust those batting gloves and look for a better pitch.
Major, I mentioned that 413 average. He's also got a really interesting story. Grew up in the Indianapolis area, but originally from the Bahamas.
1-1 outside. So going from the Bahamas to Xavier, quite a trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Into the Midwest from the Caribbean, that's a little bit of a change of scenery.
Two-1 hits its mark. Nastrini going back low, and 2-2 now the count.
Yeah, that fastball's reading 93 right now from the radar gun here at Lowell Park.
He's got some pro-ready speed with it. The 2-2 pitch. Inside, and he got him. Tipped into the mitt of Troy Claunch, but a nasty breaking pitch that came back in on the hands of Major, and that was a really great pitching sequence from Nastrini.
Yeah, that was dirty. I think it might have been a slider that broke to the inside. Major decided he wanted to come around and swing on it, and maybe unsung hero of that pitch was Troy Claunch. It was foul-tipped, and it's hard to catch a slider that's foul-tipped down low in the dirt. but Clonch made it happen.
Now Casey Schmidt from San Diego State. Destrini needs to step off and reset. He was a freshman All-American in 2018. First Aztec to get that honor since Steven Strasburg.
It's pretty good company.
Skies this one shallow. Hayden Cantrell under it at second base just on the grass, and he makes the play. So pretty quiet for both teams in the first. Nothing doing. So we'll head to the second after our break.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
Welcome back to Lowell Park for the start of the second inning. We are going to make our way to the 4 spot with Trey Cruz momentarily, but David, I just want to touch on Sullivan in that top of the first. He looked pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good is one way to put it. He had 2 looking strikeouts followed by a swinging strikeout. He fires just over 10 pitches and retires maybe the best 3 batters, at least the best 2 batters in Cantrell and DeLoach in the top of the first with no problems. So Cruz tries to get things going here in the second.
Cruz digs in from the left side, the 306 hitter with 22 hits. First pitch he sees is a breaking ball high in the zone that he fouls off back into the left.
I'm interested to see the mind games that these pitchers play because it's their second time out against each team. So maybe a different approach than a normal start.
0-1, Trey swinging, and he fouls it straight back, down in the hole 0-2.
Yeah, he's getting ahead in counts early too, Severin. First pitch strikes, been consistent so far in this game. You put the hitters in a tough position because now you're at 0-2. You can have a throwaway pitch or 2. Try to get him to strike out.
See if he indeed wastes one. It is high with a fastball. Good call, David, sitting at 91.
Cruz swinging a hot bat as of late. He had 2 hits last night against Hyannis.
1-2 pitch. Cruz fights and stays alive. And Trey's been one of those hitters where he gets those timely hits that you need. Maybe not the most flashy hits, but
right.
He can get on base and he can score those runs when they're out there.
Definitely. Team lead in RBIs with 13.
Trey calls for time as Sullivan's been working at a pretty decent clip, but took a little bit too long on that look-in. Trey with his signature Toronto cleats. He reaches out and singles up the center field, up to second base, excuse me, as it rolls into center field. And Trey Cruz is the first runner aboard for Falmouth.
First hit of the game for either side, and Cruz does a great job on that pitch. Looked like outside and off speed. Cruz didn't have the most pretty swing on that one. He was kind of leaning back and hunched the back a little bit. Definitely not a traditional swing from Trey Cruz. But he needs to protect with 2 strikes. He slaps it up the middle, gets the job done.
So now we'll see Troy Clonch, 200, the man from Oregon State. Check over at first for Trey Cruz. First time we'll see Sullivan from the stretch tonight.
And the Kettleers like to check on base runners a lot, especially against Falmouth with 42 stolen bases. That leads the Cape League.
First pitch to Claunch hits the outside part of the plate for a strike, fastball at 91.
Claunch, you mentioned that 200 average. His last couple times out, 0 for 3 against Bourne in that 14-0 loss, because who wasn't hitless in that game, honestly?
One they'd like to forget, I'm sure, but they bounced back the right way. 0-1 goes back similar spot, a different pitch, and that's 0-2 quickly to Troy Claunch.
But the game before that, he had a huge 3-run home run against Brewster to tie the game against the Whitecaps. Commodores would end up winning 4-3.
Did it just in time as the clouds rolled in and covered the field in darkness. Quick check back on Cruz, dives back safely.
Yeah, I think that was our first 9-inning game that was shortened. We've had a couple 7-inning games due to the doubleheaders, but that was the first that we've had called short.
Sullivan gets a look over to Cruz, now into his set. Still looking and then steps off. Very preoccupied with Trey over at first base.
Yeah, and we were talking to Sam Niederman, one of the broadcasters for Cotuit, and he said that Mike Roberts likes to have his pitchers checking on the runners so that it's a non-pitching motion.
0-2 pitch. Kessler wanted it, popped up from his stance, ready to fire it back, but just missed, and it's 1-2 now to Troy.
But again, Sullivan getting ahead in the count. Saw Cruz battle back in the way that the first 3 batters couldn't.
Third baseman Schmidt near the grass, infield at a moderate depth. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss from Troy Claunch. He is another batter to be retired via the strikeout from Schmidt. And we're now going to see Taylor Smith to see if he can do better with Cruz still awaiting at first.
I think Claunch decided to swing just a little bit too late there. It was a fastball on the outside part of the plate. I think Claunch was sitting off speed, realized that it was going to be close, decided to swing, but just couldn't catch up.
Well, if you're looking for a batter with power, there might be none better than Taylor Smith. Has had some absolute bombs and some timely ones at that, as he gets ready to face Schmidt before there's another check on Cruz at first.
Walk-off home run against Harwich. Not bad. Bottom of the 10th inning in a 3-2 Falmouth win. 4 home runs on the summer.
Breaking pitch bounces away from Kessler, but not far enough. Just missed low in the zone. And that home run was timely, and it was an absolute shot to center field. I think that's what some of the youths call calling game. 1-0 pitch. Back inside and clips the corner for a strike. One's across the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out for Taylor Smith.
Smith, one of 2 walk-off heroes on the summer for Falmouth. The other, Zach DeLoach, with an RBI single in the bottom of the 7th in Game 1 of the doubleheader against Chatham.
1-1. That's a strike. Went in, then back out. Sullivan's had really good location for his pitches, David, not just the selection and the effectiveness, but also where he's switching the spots in the zone.
Definitely, and he's using the fastball a lot, really establishing it on both sides of the plate. Only uses the breaking stuff when he needs to.
Comes to the set, straightens up. Now the 1-2 pitch, low and in the dirt. No chase from Smith. Evens the count at 2-2. Cruz has stayed with a moderate lead over at first, nothing too big. Looking over at third base coach Brett Becker for signs, not seeing many.
Yeah, they kind of just let him run. They kind of let him just do what they want on the base paths.
Swing and a miss from Taylor Smith on the 2-2. It was tipped and into the mitt. Another strikeout for Schmidt. He has come to play, for Sullivan. Came in with a 4.5 ERA, as we said. Both pitchers did. And you wouldn't know it. I know that's a pretty decent ERA, a pretty respectable one, but certainly pitching lights out here to start the game.
I mean, the first 5 outs of the games being strikeouts, that's pretty unheard of. His highest total in one game was 6 in 4 innings against Hyannis.
Another check on Cruz, getting that uniform dirty. Back safely.
We've seen Carmen Majinski put up some crazy strikeout numbers, like 10 in 5 innings, but He's never struck out 5 in a row.
First pitch to Jackson Coots, in there for a strike. Jackson backs out and resets. And from URI has seen time in and out of the lineup. Always keeps things light and fun on the bench, but he's been producing as of late. Had a triple a couple games ago. And that was after a couple of loud outs, too. He was having some fun there with his teammates after he got to third base.
Yeah, that was in game 2 of the doubleheader last Friday. So almost a week ago now for Jackson, and that was a crazy play. As you said, he's definitely Mr. Entertainment in the dugout. Temporary player, along with Austin Maisel, who has stuck around into mid-July.
2-2. Fouled back, excuse me, that was the 0-2. Twos with strikes and outs, and Jackson fouled it off and to the left. Fighting to stay alive at the box against red-hot Sullivan. Still down 0-2, and time is called.
Yeah, he shook off Kessler 3 or 4 times there. Couldn't agree on the pitch. Commodores being silenced right now. We saw something similar in that game against Bourne.
0-2 delivered, and that's strike 3. Coots didn't like it. A very good frame from Kessler, and not enough that you can say about Sean Sullivan at this point. He's been almost unhittable aside from the Cruz single. So we'll head to the next frame with Cotuit coming up.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape. Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Welcome back to Falmouth Commodores Baseball on the Commodores Baseball Network. Get a second look at Nick Nastrini now. He had those performances against Cotuit on July 3rd where he picked up the win, and then June 23rd before that at YD with a 4-8 loss. No decision for him in that one. Went 3 innings in the first one against YD and then 5, giving up only 1 run against Cotuit. See if he can put up a similar performance here right now. Has the makings of a pitcher's duel. First batter for him is going to be Kessler. First pitch to him is a strike.
Right now, the pitchers have been owning this game, especially Sullivan. I mean, Nastrini's looked good, don't get me wrong, but 6 strikeouts and you face 7 batters. It doesn't get much better than that.
Not too shabby. 0-1. Nice breaking pitch. Caught him almost sleeping as it was a late swing from Kessler. Almost felt like he had to go with that. Kessler coming in at a 176 average. 34 at bats. 6 hits.
Kentucky Wildcat at the plate, 297 average last year.
0-2, grounds it over to Hayden Cantrell, handles it, and cleanly over to first with Jackson Coots, and there's 1 away.
No balls really hard hit in this game. The only ones I can think of were in the first at-bat of the bottom of the first inning. Nick Gonzalez crushed a couple foul. But that's been about it. These hitters are having trouble catching up and lining up these fastballs and breaking balls from Nastrini and Sullivan.
And as we mentioned, good pitch variation. I think that's one of the things that's helped both so far, keeping the hitters on their toes. Joey Loperfido from the DH spot now to see Nastrini. First pitch, swings, misses. Looked like an 83-mile-an-hour curve from Nastrini to start off Loperfido. Nastrini has his sign, kicks, deals. Grounded foul over by the Commodores dugout.
Again, more first pitch strikes from both of these pitchers. Loperfido won a battle against Nastrini on July 3rd. He took him deep over the field in right center to give Cotuit a 1-0 lead. Then Nastrini was great after that.
Loperfido, the man from Duke, had a home run off Nastrini on July 3rd, which was the only run that Nastrini gave up. Grounder in between Coots and Cantrell. Coots backhands it, throws on Nastrini, tags the bag, and that's in time for the out. Cantrell immediately went over to shift to back up Coots, who went and backhanded it, and Nastrini, good hustle getting over and in time for the second out of the inning.
Great play by Jackson Coots to get off the bag. Sometimes at first, with those ground balls over in between second and first base, it can be tough to know whether you want to stay on the bag or to come off and get it. Made the right decision there, and heads up play by Nastrini getting off the mound as well to cover.
First pitch is lined with one bounce and then further bounces into center field for, that is Mason McCorder. Took the first one he saw and sent it up to Blake Dunn in center for another man on, now for Cotuit. Excuse me, that's going to be the first man on for Cotuit.
McCorder just with a .259 average coming into the night. Commodores had yet to face McCorder. First pitch fastball. Sometimes the first pitch is the best one you're going to see, so he took a rip. Cracked it into right center.
Swing and a miss from Cam Hill. As Nastrini now working from the stretch for the first time tonight. Looking in at the signs from Troy Claunch. Now he's got one. Couple toe taps. Now he fires. Nice off-speed pitch that Cam Hill can't connect with. 0-2.
Yeah, that's that dirty changeup from Nastrini. Out of the hand, it looks like it has that same speed of the fastball, but then it just dies coming over the plate. It's also pretty fast for a changeup. But because his fastball is so fast, it keeps the hitters off balance.
Check on McCorder. Yeah, you're right, still sitting at mid-80s. Maybe in that lower tier, but still very effective. Short lead for McCorder over at first. 0-2 the count. And the pitch. High and away.
Cam Hill was taken the whole way there. 5'10", 175. He's a lefty from Kentucky. So he and Kessler, two Wildcats in the lineup tonight for the Kettleers.
1-2 pitch. Popped up. Shallow left field. Maisel coming in. He's going to handle it, and that's going to be the third out. So despite the one hit, Nastrini escapes unscathed. And we will head to the top of the third, coming right up.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends. Staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgentcare.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20 plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Welcome back to Commodores baseball here against Cotuit, and it's been hard to find a hit against Sean Sullivan. The Commodores will try to do it with Steven Moretto and Austin Maisel coming up as the bottom of the order to get their first looks at the righty for Cotuit. And David, he's been almost unhittable tonight so far.
Yeah, he's been pretty much unhittable. I mean, 6 strikeouts in the first 6 outs of the game. He just allows 1 single to Trey Cruz. I'm really looking forward to these 2 batters, though, because Moretto and Maisel are guys who do not strike out a lot.
Moretto sends one back to almost us. It hits right above with this chain link mesh fence in front of us. 0-1. Sullivan working quickly, off speed, framed high, but missed 1-1.
So Moretto's strikeout count is actually a little bit high, 14 on the summer, but he works really long counts, especially against pitchers that are dealing so much like Sullivan.
1-1, high and outside, 2-1.
Maisel the exact same. Austin Maisel has only struck out once in 28 at-bats this summer. He does not go down by way of the K, so that'll be interesting to see what Sullivan does against him.
Sullivan went back low. 3-1 the count. A little bit of later call there from home plate umpire Mark Andadosa. Tip into the mitt. That's going to be strike number 2.
This is exactly what I was thinking, though. Moretto works a full count, just the second of the game that Sullivan has seen. The first was against Hayden Cantrell, who struck out swinging.
Moretto does love to work those long at-bats. Likes to see a lot of pitches.
Yep. And that's what you want with your 8 and 9 hitters against a guy who's absolutely shoving.
3-2, tried to check his swing, and he did. They're going to let him take first, as they say Moretto did not go around. Nope, they check, they appeal. They say he did. Late appeal as well.
Very late appeal. I mean, he was 60 feet down the first base line.
I've never seen anything like that. He was practically on first.
Cotuit was hooting and hollering, saying that he went around. I think he definitely did. I think he broke the wrist and the bat head went across. Maybe a good sell job by Moretto.
So we'll go down in the books as another strikeout.
But yeah, late appeal from Piantadosi down to Frank Auditor, the first base ump.
Maisel lines one, and that's going to be in for a hit into right field. A nice line drive from Maisel that takes one bounce before it comes up to the right fielder, Major, and a man is aboard with one out for the Commodores.
I mean, Austin Maisel is something special. He doesn't play every night. He plays once every 2 or 3 nights for the Commodores, but he has been outstanding. I mean, he doesn't strike out. He gets contact. He works some walks. He has just been so great for the Commodores. 429 average. Now, I know he doesn't have as many at-bats with just 28, but he still gets hard contact. There against Sullivan, probably one of the most dominant pitchers we've seen in the past couple weeks. Cracks a hard single to right field.
Cantrell looks at a ball on the outside, and to follow up on that 429 on the season with 7 runs scored for Maisel. In 28 at-bats, he's had only 1 strikeout.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And that was his mentality coming into the summer. We talked to him. He said he was just going to have fun and work hard at the plate.
1-0 fouled off by Cantrell, evens the count at 1-1.
And the number one thing he was trying to limit this summer was the strikeouts. He said he wanted to just put the ball in play and make the defense work to get him out. He's doing that to perfection this summer.
Man on for the top of the order. 1-1. Cantrell fights it off, goes the other way. In the air for Robinson, who handles it for out number 2.
Cantrell puts it in play. Opposite field hit for Cantrell. Just got under it. So can of corn for Robinson out and left. This is interesting, though. You got the second time that Sullivan's facing the order. He struck out nearly everyone his first time up.
See if they can adjust now. Blake Dunn stepping in from the right side. Check over on Maisel at first. Bounces in the dirt, but is handled by McWhorter. Here in the 3rd inning, Commodores trying to make some noise. Sullivan from the stretch. First pitch to Dunn is grounded over to the second baseman. Gonzalez handles it, throws onto first, and that will retire the side. Still no runs scored. We'll head to the bottom of the third on the other side of our break.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Back now as Nastrini will look to continue what has been a dominant performance so far from either side. Going up against the bottom of the Cotuit order, getting ready to face 8 and 9. David, what have you seen so far out of these pitchers that has allowed them to be so dominant?
Well, I think it's first pitch strikes. Both of these guys are pounding the strike zone. We haven't seen a walk for either side yet. We've seen 7 Ks for Sullivan, just 1 for Nastrini, but that is not bad at all. I mean, he's put the ball in play and trusted his defense.
Robinson pops it up. Left center field. Maisel under it, and he makes the catch.
But that's another example, right? He gets a first strike on Robinson, and then the second pitch is lofted out into left center. He's just making these batters swing. A little bit of a different approach for each of these pitchers. Sullivan really working the strikeout a little bit more. Nastrini not relying on it. He trusts his defense, but we haven't seen many hard hit balls for either side, and I think it's just a credit to the stuff that these guys have.
Commodores' defense has been so good all season long, whether you want to go to the Dunn highlight or just the fantastic play of the infield. All around very good. This one into the gap between Moretto and Cruz, and Maisel will gather it in left field. That's a single for Adam Oviedo at the bottom of the order, and that'll bring us back to the top with a hard hit ball to get things going.
All right, so the 2 hits for the Kettleers have been first pitch fastballs that they've swung at. McWhorter and Oviedo not hesitating when they get into the box. They know that Nastrini, especially first time through the order, is going to try to zip a fastball by you to get ahead in the count. So that's a great strategy from Oviedo, who is quietly, even at the 9 spot, one of the better hitters on this team with 12 RBIs.
Back to Gonzalez at the top. He flew out to left field. This one eats up Steven Moretto over at third. He's going to be safe as Moretto took a tough hop, and Cruz was there to back it up. You don't usually see that from Steven Moretto.
Yeah, he had a similar play. I think it was against Bourne, where he had a hard hit ball hit over to him at third base, and he fielded it with his glove hand sort of on the heel of that glove. And you want to be getting your glove up so that it's hitting the webbing, because there's a lot less give in that part of the glove hand. It's ruled a hit. Maybe a merciful score from Cape Cod League scorer in the box here at Lowell Park.
Nastrini checking back at second. Bunt attempt shown, pulls it back, handled by Claunch. It was in the dirt.
But that was another first pitch swing from Gonzalez. And off the bat, I thought it might have been a double play. Maybe Moretto picking up his glove a little too early, thinking about turning 2.
Runners on first and second, 1 out. Nastrini looks, then fires outside, and it's fouled back and away. Major was a strikeout victim back in the first.
This is where the pitchers really have to dig in. We haven't seen Sullivan in a jam yet. This is the first jam of the game for Nastrini. He hasn't been in a position like this too often this summer.
Cruz shading over to second, dancing around. Nastrini giving a long pause before throwing high. Gets away from Claunch. Runners are going to be safe as they advance to second and third, respectively. Once again, Troy Claunch is usually pretty solid back there. He got his glove on it, and it just tipped up and over his head. It's now 2 slight questionable plays from the Commodores' defense that are a little abnormal.
And again, we saw something similar from Troy Claunch against Bourne as well. I don't know what it was. He was either closing that mid a little bit too early, but on some pitches out of the zone that really he should be catching, in my opinion, they're just getting past him. That one went off the tip of his glove and back towards us on the right side of this backstop, but that's got to be a ball that he squeezes. I don't care how high it was.
The runners are now in scoring position, and as you mentioned, this is the first real test for Nastrini of the evening. Moretto in on the grass. The rest of the infield back at their normal depth. Outfield shaded slightly to the right. Pitch is going to be grounded over to Cantrell. He's going to pick it up on the run and throw over to Jackson Coots, but the run will score from third. So we have our first run on the board, and it is not for the Commodores. It comes home for Cotuit.
And that is one that Troy Claunch is really going to be thinking a lot about, because if the runners are on first and second, and that's over to the left side of the infield, you definitely get 1 out. You might get 2. Probably not, because it was so softly hit to the right side. But again, the run basically scoring because of that wild pitcher passed ball, however it was scored.
Well, Nastrini's not out of the woods yet. He still has a runner 90 feet away. But with 2 outs, see if he can get his last man. Goes off speed to start, 78 miles an hour on the gun, and that's in there for a strike.
Pretty curveball drops in at the knees to Casey Schmidt. I think we're going to see more first pitch off speed from Nastrini second time through the order, especially now that Cotuit's swinging at the first pitch fastball.
Gonzalez at third. Healthy lead. 1-2. Hits him. That was right just a bit high above the Evo shield and into the back, almost that left shoulder blade. And a shrug from Casey Schmidt as he heads to first base. Just when you think Nastrini might be able to come away and limit the damage, now runners on first and third.
First and third, and the cleanup man stepping up in Colton Kessler. Kessler with just a 176 average, a triple, and a home run. So maybe not a stat line that you would expect from a man in the 4th spot, but still Kessler trying to add to those totals against Nastrini.
First pitch to Kessler, outside corner for a strike.
Thought it might have been a little bit outside, but that's a big strike for Nastrini to get ahead in the count, help his confidence. Because just 1 out gets him out of the jam with just 1 run across.
Deals on the 0-1, and it's now 1-1 as he missed just a little bit high and outside. Kessler had a strong sophomore season in Lexington from the Kentucky team. 297, 5 home runs, 29 RBIs. Jackson Coots holding on the runner at first base. 1-1 is the count. Pitch from Nastrini, low. Nice stop from Troy Claunch.
Kessler and Cam Hill, both at Kentucky, both in the lineup tonight. They also played together on the same summer league last summer. In 2018, they were in the Texas Collegiate League, playing with the Texarkana Twins.
Say that one 10 times fast.
Yeah, right?
2-1, 2 outs. Nastrini from the stretch. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Evens the count at 2-2, and he needed that one.
I think Nastrini's going to try to get the punch out here after a mistake that he made hitting the last batter and then a wild pitch before that. I think he's probably just going to try to rear up the fastball and blow it by him.
We'll see what he does on the 2-2. Runner going. It is strike 3 called. Claunch popped up, ready to fire to second, but he didn't need to. Nastrini gets out of the jam, but not before a run scores. And David, they did indeed get that one hit that they needed to bring home that first run of the game.
Yeah, they did, and Cotuit taking advantage of some defensive mistakes as well. They score one maybe by way of the gift, but it'll give them a lead.
We'll see if Falmouth can bring back that run and tie the game on the other side of the break.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Back to Commodores baseball, where they are down 1-0 to the Cotuit Kettleers, joined by our reporter, Katie Florio. Katie, you have something for us on the effectiveness on Sean Sullivan. Tell us what you found out.
Thanks, Everett. And Falmouth saw Sean Sullivan on the mound here at Cotuit just last Thursday. So before the game, I asked Trey Cruz what he remembers seeing from him and that he'll take into this game. He said he likes to get ahead with the fastball early. If you prove you can hit that, then he'll start you with off speed the next at bat. Trey also said he throws a ton of strikes, but just 2 hits through the first 3 innings for Falmouth and 7 strikeouts. So Sullivan definitely showing him his best stuff so far. We'll see if they can get adjusted soon.
Thank you, Katie. Seems to be very accurate information. That's exactly what we've seen from Sullivan to this point. It's a lot of strikes and some tough pitches for those hitters. Cruz has seen it already, and we'll see if a second time through the order for some of these guys will make the difference. Falmouth is going to have Zach DeLoach from that 3 spot coming up for his second go-around against Sullivan.
And that's a trend that Katie talked about that I think is pretty common with some of these dominant pitchers. First time through the order, they're going to try to establish the fastball. They're going to use it a lot in counts. They're going to use it early. But then second time through, they're going to go first pitch off speed, try to get a swinging strike to start things off, and just keep the hitters off balance. I know Nastrini's been doing something similar.
Deep breath from Sullivan before firing a strike that DeLoach whiffs on.
And that was off speed. All right, so he uses that first pitch off speed in the second AB to Zach DeLoach.
0-1, DeLoach fires it back over the head of the second baseman and into right field. A base hit for Zach DeLoach, and we have a runner aboard with no outs.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird hit from Zach DeLoach. It sounded good off the bat. Made a loud snap as it hit DeLoach's wood, but then it kind of hung up in the air as it went into very shallow right center field. And Gonzalez nearly made a play on it. I mean, he put his head down and was gunning towards the spot, and he lifted his glove hand up just a little bit over. Landed for a hit.
Man aboard for Trey Cruz. He was successful in the second with a single. Trey from the left side. And from the stretch is Sullivan. Popped it up, foul, back and into the stands.
I think the Commodores are starting to line up Sullivan better. We're seeing some bigger swings, and they're getting a hold of some of these balls. I mean, I know they're going foul and maybe just landing here and there, but Austin Mazel's hit, Zach DeLoach timed it up well to get aboard, and Trey Cruz slapped that fastball foul.
Overall, a lot more contact. The 0-1, Cruz, that's a single into right field. Zach DeLoach is going to round second, head for a third. Cruz is going to hold up at first. And Zach DeLoach is going to slide in safely at third.
There we go, right on cue. Hitters 3 and 4, back-to-back singles. And DeLoach doing a nice job to stretch it into third. It was a close play, a nice throw from Aubrey Major out in right field. But just about a second and a half late as DeLoach slid in safely without a tag.
Still no outs. Runners at the corners for Troy Claunch.
It's a golden opportunity for Falmouth right now. I know the first time through the order they get just 2 hits and strike out 7 times. But they only have a 1-run deficit right now, and runners on the corners with speed at both bases is lethal. That's why we see Colton Kessler giving some signs to his defense.
Middle infielder shading closer to second base. Third baseman Schmidt in on the grass. Cruz being held on at first. Check on Cruz over at first. Not much action from Deloach with a secondary over at third, as it was handled cleanly by McWhorter.
Cruz with 4 stolen bases this summer. He's been caught stealing twice, which is tied for most times he's been caught on the team.
First pitch to Claunch is foul that hit the catcher, Kessler. He's shaken up a little bit.
Troy Claunch with a long look back to Kessler because he's a catcher himself and he knows what it feels like to take a foul ball off the dome piece, but Kessler seems all right as he settles back in.
Interesting note too, David, both these catchers are going with that older style catcher's mask where it detaches from the helmet. You see a lot more of those hockey mask styles.
That's a good observation. I didn't even notice that. I kind of like the old school look better.
Too.
Yeah. Feels more baseball. I don't know.
Well, and what I've heard too is that sometimes this version is actually better because that mask will detach. It doesn't keep everything enclosed, but I'm sure you have to ask some people with a little bit more first-hand knowledge of what the benefits are.
Yeah, you kind of have to rip off that hockey mask. We know Matt Nelson, catcher from Florida State, wears that style.
0-1 pitch. Framed high and outside, but good enough for a strike. 0-2 now. The count to Troy Claunch gave a look up into the air and still trying to adjust to that zone. Now down 0-2 and asking where that one was.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned through a couple summers on the Cape, it's how to read baseball players' body language, and he did not like that called strike as well.
The 0-2 pitch. Claunch fights it and stays alive as it fouls back and out of play.
Claunch from Oregon State. We haven't talked about this that much. He was with the Anchorage Bucks last summer. He was way out in the Alaska League. And summer over there, daylight's like 21 or 22 hours or something crazy like that.
Talked to Katie earlier in the year about that. 0-2, Claunch sends a deep shot to center field. Under it is Hill, tagging from third, and scoring is Zach Deloach. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie ball game. The Falmouth Commodores bring a run home. It is now 1-1 your score.
And that's why it's great to get the first couple runners on with singles because you have room to work with those 3 outs. Claunch, a fly ball into center field, hard hit off the bat, but it dies out for Cameron Hill. No chance to get Deloach at the plate. And they respond after giving up a run in the bottom of the third.
So the sac fly from Troy Claunch. Still Cruz over at first. We'll see what Taylor Smith can do from the DH spot. Sullivan goes off speed at a 76-mile-an-hour pace and misses 1-0 the count to Smith.
He knows the scouting report on Smith. He knows that he's been hit a little bit harder this inning, and he doesn't want to leave anything inside and over the plate to the righty with a ton of power.
Goes low, and that one also misses. 2-0 the count. Third baseman Schmidt is still in on the grass despite the run coming home. See if Smith can capitalize. Waiting on the 2-0. Taps it foul. Looked like he was close to sending that one over the fence.
Yeah, that one was one that he might want back. I mean, he's still got a hitter's count and plenty of room to work with, but it was a fastball, inner half of the plate, about thigh high, and he was just a little bit over it. Grazed the fastball back into the backstop.
Sullivan takes a couple breaths, comes to his set. Long look in, now the pitch. High and outside, count's going to run to 3-1. And David, you hear a lot of that in the dugout, sort of the players saying, oh, he just missed that one, he'll get it next time. And, you know, even with the Deloach homers, they know right off the bat when it's going to go. You expect nothing less, but it's funny how these guys know their teammates so well already and know the pitches as well.
Definitely, it shows that chemistry that the Doors have.
Little check on Cruz before the 3-1 delivery. Smith steps back out, and Sullivan steps back onto the rubber. Quarter turn to check on Cruz at first. Back with attention to the plate. The 3-1 pitch. Smith absolutely ropes it, but foul down the left field line.
I want to do a case study for the rest of the summer on if Taylor Smith can hit a single. Because he has 5 hits this summer, 1 double, and 4 home runs. It seems like this guy just does not hit the ball softly. It is not in his MO.
I don't think you'd want it any other way. Very entertaining stuff. See if he can be more entertaining with the 3-2. He sends this one into left field, and on a line, it's caught by Robinson. That one was tailing away, but Robinson bent his body and got under it without diving just in time to make the second out of the inning.
That was almost his first single. Hard hit into left field, but just hung up long enough for Robinson to make the catch at about his waist. Off the bat, I thought it might have been into the gap, but one of the softer hard hit balls from Taylor Smith.
I still think we'll need to have a longer talk about you wanting Taylor Smith to hit singles. As there's another check on Trey Cruz.
Well, I've just never seen a stat line like it, Severin. You know, it's like I've never seen a guy have 5 hits, 4 of them bombs, and 1 double. Usually you see 4 singles and maybe 1 home run.
Cruz going, and they check, and they'll get him as it hits him. The throw from McCorder hit him in the back. It was a pickoff attempt, and Cruz was going to second. And they timed it correctly, but the throw was not as it hit Cruz in the back, and he's going to be safe.
Yeah, so if a ball hits you on the base paths when it's hit in play, you are out. But in that situation, Trey Cruz is safe. It hit him look like sort of on the back right shoulder blade. And
right
that
near
is
that number.
There's not a lot of muscle cushion in your back, so he has to shake that one off. He sort of does some arm circles to his left and right on the throw from McCorder. I haven't seen a play like that in a long time, maybe ever.
Usually you see the first baseman step either
Right.
forward or backward to make sure he avoids hitting that runner, and especially because he had time because they picked off the right moment. And I'm very surprised that throw hit Cruz again, like you said, square in the back, not even over to the side with a shoulder or something.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Looked like he was dead to rights. A nice pickoff move from Sullivan. He was clearly going on the pitch to Coots.
Lost in the fray is Coots, the batter, still awaiting a pitch. Here with 2 outs, Cruz on second. Another check on Cruz, and Coots will have to wait a little bit longer.
Well, that's the definition of taking one for the team, right?
It certainly is.
Take one in the batter's box. That's a little bit more common. On the base paths to go in scoring position, it's not bad.
First pitch to Coots, misses low.
Single likely scores a run here for Jackson Coots because Trey Cruz will be going on contact with 2 outs.
Sullivan ready. Gives a check back to Cruz. Now the pitch. The 1-0 is fouled back and out of play.
Jackson Coots with a strikeout looking his last time up in the 2nd inning. Cruz, the only Commodore to reach base twice.
Being held on by the shortstop, Oviedo. More of a close check. As Oviedo shades behind him, and now a check from Sullivan.
And Cruz likes to play against Cotuit. That was something I meant to mention earlier. He's 4 for 8 and even .500 against the Kettleers. Even better tonight, 2 for 2.
1-1 to Coots. Fly ball, tailing foul, shallow left field line.
So now Cruz an even 6 for 10 against Cotuit. We see some of those strange tendencies happen. Some guys in the summer league teams like to play against one particular team. I know Hayden Cantrell against Hyannis. Maybe Trey Cruz against the rivals of the Commodores.
Hoping to score from second in this situation. 1-2 to Jackson Coots, 2 outs. This one stays in the air and stays in the park. Third baseman Schmidt ranging over, leans back and makes the catch. Third out of the inning, so Cruz threatened after getting to second base, but the Commodores can't bring him around. More importantly, Zach Deloche scored earlier from third. It's a 1-1 ball game, and we'll come back to see if those runs are added after this.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. It's a 1-1 score as we get ready to see the Kettleers and Joey Loperfido. Nick Nastrini allowed a run in the last frame, but now looking to start things strong against the designated hitter.
And it was a 3-1 put out Loperfido's first time up, a hard hit ground ball to the right side that Coots made a great play on. He moved off the bag and fielded it, and Nastrini covered.
First pitch to him goes golfing in the dirt and misses. 0-1.
Nastrini looks so intimidating on the mound.
I think it's the height, personally.
Yeah, that probably has something to do with it. And by probably, I mean definitely.
The 0-1 changes elevation and goes high, but just misses.
Listed at 6'3", 204. That might be a little short, honestly. I think he looks a little bigger than that.
You might be able to tack on an inch. 1-1, missed again outside. 2-1.
But he's got the short hair on the sides. He's got a little bit of a curly fro on top that's completely covered by that black hat.
2-1 is lined into right field. That's a base hit.
And Loperfido continues to swing the bat well against Nastrini. Home run on July 3rd, and a couple hard hit balls here on July 10th, less than a week later.
David, we're starting to see a lot more solid contact now. Last couple hits we've seen have been line drives, good solid hits, nothing that's just squeaking by.
Yeah, that's about right, Danny. Oh, geez, Danny. That was the first. I knew it was going to happen.
Hey, it took you to the 4th inning. I'm very impressed. High breaking ball misses.
But, yeah, I think these pitchers are starting to get hit around a little bit. Hitters making adjustments, talking in the dugout. That's bound to happen later in the game.
McCorder working with the ball. Now he puts one back in his center field. Blake Dunn going back at the fence is going to bounce and hit. Rounding third is Loperfido. He's going to score. They're going to cut the throw as Cruz holds onto it. That is an RBI double for Mason McCorder. He had the single in the second, and now he tacks on another run as that one went all the way to the center field fence.
Right as we said it. Another hard hit ball from McCorder. And that one was put into the opposite field. He's 2 for 2 on the day with a single and a double. The night keeps getting better for the first baseman. Brings home Loperfido all the way from first. And that's the thing, when you get a guy throwing as hard as Nastrini does, if you square one up and you get a good swing on it, it's going to go quite a distance.
Nastrini now from the stretch. Bunt attempt shown. Couldn't connect. 0-1.
Klonch coming out to talk to Nastrini now. Fellow Pac-12ers Nastrini from UCLA, Claunch from Oregon State.
And right as as he departs the mound, Hill goes out to talk to his third base coach.
Yeah, that's the manager, Mike Roberts, for Cotuit. And he is a staple here at Lowell Park. 15th season at the helm, 2 championships in 2010 and 2013.
And as we were talking earlier, you said he was more of an old school manager.
Yeah.
As opposed to Coach Trundy, who likes to let his players play a little bit more, I guess.
I think Trundy's also old school. The difference I distinguish is Roberts is a lot more hands-on. Trundy's a lot more hands-off with his players as far as the day-to-day and the in-game coaching decisions.
Runner on second, squaring is Cam Hill. The 0-1 pitch. Can't connect. It bounces away from Troy Claunch either way, and coming around third, taking a turn, but stopping there is McWhorter. Another pass ball that gets away from Troy Claunch.
Yeah, it was a slider that broke inside, skipped on the back end of the plate as Hill fanned on the bunt. And that can be tough for Claunch to see into the mitt, especially with that bat head wagging in front of him. But again, another play that Troy Claunch has tabbed to his ledger.
So another run is 90 feet away at third base. 1-1. Big cut and a miss from Hill.
A K here would be huge. Still nobody out in the 4th inning. Nastrini running into a little bit of trouble.
Nastrini comes to the set. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him on the strikeout. First out of the inning. From your lips to the field of play, David, as he gets that strikeout.
Hey, nice strikeout, Nick. Good job. Thanks for listening. Now, his strikeouts have been a little bit more spread out in this game than in others, just 3. But as I said, that's a big one because he really needed an out. He's got 8 strikeouts on the summer coming into tonight, only 2 walks, so he does pound the strike zone. But I would say he pitches to contact a little more than he does try to strike out everybody.
Whew. Big hack and a miss from Christian Robinson. And just to wrap up that point, I would totally agree with you. I think you've seen that so far to this point. But Nastrini can battle back with those strikeouts.
Definitely. He relies on him when he needs him, you know. It's not like he tries to get him for every single out.
Could use it here to avoid the sacrifice once again. 0-1 the count. Squaring to bunt. Gets it down right to Nastrini. He does not go home. He goes over to first with Jackson Coots as the runner stayed. McWhorter gave a look and went back to third. And it gave Nastrini enough time to head over to first with it.
Initial reaction to that play. Great communication by the Falmouth infield. Nastrini gets that ball. He's focusing on it, getting into his glove. He has no idea what's going on at third base. McWhorter's making a dash for home plate. Moretto is going over to the bag and maybe trying to get him. But the whole infield barked 1, saying go to first. Nastrini with a quick look over to look back McWhorter, and he gets the out.
Good job of Troy Claunch framing that pitch. The 0-1 now from Adam Oviedo, as he is in with the runner still on third. Nastrini set. Pitch. Checked his swing, but not enough. 0-2 now. Nastrini is coming back strong after allowing the RBI double.
Definitely, Severin. He is battling back fiercely here in the 4th. Gives up a single and a double. Allows a run to score. Runner moves to third on a pass ball, and he has just been lights out since.
0-2 on its way from Nastrini. Outside, wasted it.
He wanted the fastball up on that as Claunch sort of got into a taller squat and was setting up the glove upstairs. But he just held it a little bit too long, maybe gripped it a little too tightly. It was low and away.
1-2, 2 outs, runner on third. Nastrini. This one back into left field for Maisel, who catches it on a line. So after some trouble, Nastrini allowing the RBI double, he comes back with a strikeout, and then able to get his final out of the inning and limit the damage. It is 2-1 Cotuit.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare. Expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Falmouth Commodores trailing the Cotuit Kettleers 2-1. Still a relative pitching duel between Nastrini and Sullivan, but Sullivan getting the better of the matchup after Nastrini allowed another run in the last half. We are on to the top of the 5th, and Sullivan's still back out there, David.
Yeah, I think he'll probably go 5. I mean, it depends on what the Falmouth bats do, but he's on pace to go 5, maybe 6 in this game. The first 3 innings, he made quick work of the doors, allowed just 2 over the minimum. He only faced 5 batters in the 4th, but the first 2 had singles, so he was tabbed with that run.
Seeing Steven Moretto for the second time. If you'll remember, he had that check swing that was a late 3rd strike call. Starts him off with a ball outside.
Yeah, that was a wacky play. Kind of broke the wrists and struck out in my book, and then didn't get the call, so he walks towards first.
Sullivan tried to go back to that outside spot and missed it again.
And then when he's about 15 feet away from the bag, there's an appeal to Frank Auditore, the first base ump, and they said, yeah, he went around.
Missed again outside and low, just a little bit further in this time. 3 straight balls to Steven Moretto.
Sullivan's still working at such a quick pace. Maybe slow it down a little bit right now if you're out of the zone.
3-0, taking all the way is Moretto, 3-1.
Because I can understand trying to keep the pace up when you're dealing and when you're keeping the hitters off balance, but after allowing some hits in the 4th and then 3 straight balls, you might want to take your time.
Misses back outside, and that's a walk for Steven Moretto. No doubt about that one.
Yeah, loops the bat towards the dugout, and another leadoff base runner for the Doors. You want to limit the walks, and you especially want to limit the leadoff walks, as Sullivan has been really good in the walk department this category. This summer, he's only allowed 5.
And they might want to try and limit what Maisel does, as he had a single back his last time, as there's going to be a conversation between Sullivan and Kessler.
Just want to hit on, though, we're in the top of the 5th. That's the first walk for either pitcher. That's how you know these 2 guys are the real deal. Sullivan at UC Berkeley with the Cal Golden Bears, and Nastrini with the UCLA Bruins. Those 2 guys are legit.
5 hits officially listed for the Kettleers, 4 for Falmouth, and Nastrini on the wrong end of a 2-1 lead for Cotuit. This looks like could be a longer visit than we first thought.
Well, this is par for the course for Mike Roberts. He likes to milk the mound meetings more than any summer ball coach I've ever seen, because I think that was a strategic move for Kessler to go out to the mound for the initial conversation, and then Roberts to mosey on out to talk to the infield as well. And wow, it looks like they're going to make a call to the bullpen. This is surprising for me. I thought that they would let him go 5 for sure. But the umpire just making the signal. And indeed, we will have a reliever come in.
There will be a reliever, so after a long mound meeting, it is determined that Sean Sullivan and his night is done. So, after making it to the 5th inning, there will be a pitching change from Lowell Park. In at pitcher for the Kettleers is Bo Hofstra, replacing Sullivan. David, you've got Sullivan's stat line for us?
I do indeed. He goes 4+, so he makes it through 4 innings, and then into the 5th, he allows 1 earned run, 4 hits, 1 walk. But the most impressive stat to me, 7 strikeouts. The first 7 outs of the game for the Commodores were all Ks. He was magnificent, ran into some trouble later, though.
So we'll see Hofstra, the right-handed pitcher from Purdue. Big guy, 6'5", 235.
Yeah, he's the big righty. He's got some velo on that fastball. 5 walks, 11 strikeouts this summer, and a 4.65 ERA. Maybe this is a good sign for the Kettleers because 5 out of the 6 games that he has pitched in, the Kettleers have won. He has gotten a win twice and the loss once. But maybe not a good sign as the loss was his last time out against Chatham.
Third team All Big Ten this past season. Went 2-2 with a 1.62 ERA in 24 appearances. 1 start, 7 saves, so you do see him more in that reliever spot. Hitting 90 on the radar gun as we speak, and now ready to go against Austin Maisel.
And this is always a tough spot for a guy like Maisel to be in, because he comes up to the plate, he gets ready to see a guy who he got a single against his first time up. Then he goes to a pitching change, and he's the first guy, he's the guinea pig who has to test out this reliever.
Hofstra steps off and resets, wants to see the signs again. Inheriting Moretto over at first base. First pitch to Maisel. Right down the pipe for strike 1.
And Maisel was just going to take that the whole way. He wanted to see the fastball, see what it looks like at the plate. He hasn't gotten a chance to watch anyone else against Hofstra, so he had no intent of swinging on that first pitch.
Short lead for Moretto over at first. Check from Hofstra. Now the pitch, 0-1, Maisel taps it foul.
Off speed that stayed away to Maisel, and now he's in danger of that second strikeout with an 0-2 count against him. Hofstra's strikeout number's pretty impressive. He struck out 4 in 3 1/3 his last time on the mound.
In the hole 0-2, the pitch. Outside corner, held by Kessler, no call. 1-2.
So that was a fastball out of the zone, trying to get a swing from Maisel. Came in at 93 according to the radar gun here.
Ready from the stretch is Hofstra. The 1-2 to Maisel. Inside, and it got him. Maisel goes down by way of the backwards K.
Tough take for Maisel. He thought it might have been inside. That's just a dirty pitch.
I don't know how you hit that.
From Hofstra. Yeah, exactly. Because even if he does swing the bat, it's on the, literally, if you're looking at it from the perspective of Hofstra, that's on the bottom left corner of that strike zone.
You're breaking the bat and maybe your wrists on that play. Low and in the dirt, first pitch to Cantrell. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
It's kind of uncommon for Cantrell. 2 for 5 last night, who had a 5-game hitting streak earlier in the summer.
Check on Moretto, who's back with a dive, but safe. Talking to Hayden before the game, he said, just wanted to make sure he didn't let any good pitches go. He wanted to swing and have fun, as he said. And I don't think there's, you could certainly have competition, but right up there for all the guys that have the most fun on the team, Hayden Cantrell is up there.
Oh, yeah.
Moretto going. Pitch out, throw is down and in time, but he's safe, got under the tag. It was a high outside pitch that put Kessler in a good position. He snapped up, made the throw, but Moretto, shifty speed that maybe catches you off guard, and he went head first in for the dive and is safe at second.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be dead to rights. Moretto is not a guy you see stealing very often. He has just 1 swiped bag on the summer in 1 attempt. And with a high outside pitch, that's a perfect spot for Kessler to pop and make the throw. I thought he was dead to rights, about 15 feet away from the bag, but a head first slide and he's safe.
Hofstra, like Sullivan before him, preoccupied with runners. He checks on Moretto stepping off, no throw, and now back ready to dig in against Cantrell, who has a 2-0 count. Still in the 5th inning, 2-1 your score in favor of Cotuit. Looking back, now the pitch. Over the inner half, and that's a strike to Cantrell. 2-1 now the count.
We say Cotuit differently.
Do we? I haven't realized.
Yeah, I think I kind of just say "ca," like C-A, like Cotuit. I don't really
I
stress
pronounce the O.
You really do, yeah. Cotuit, you stick the landing.
I don't know which one's better.
I actually don't know which one's correct because I've heard both. As Maxwell Trink sings the Cotuit Kettleers fight song. I think it's Cotuit in that song. I don't know. We'll have to ask.
2-1 pitch. Tailed back inside. 93-mile-an-hour fastball with a lot of movement on it.
And Cantrell, like his first at-bat against Sullivan, he's just trying to steal a lot of pitches. He's taking some balls close but out of the zone. As he's also trying to help the guys behind him in Dunn and Deloach get an eye on Hofstra.
Hitters count for him with 1 out. Short lead for Moretto at second. Here's the pitch. Big fan and a miss from Cantrell. Looked like it caught him out front a little bit. Runs the count to full.
Yeah, I think that was another late swing from Cantrell. He might have been thinking off speed. Second full count he's worked tonight. He thought he got a walk his first time up. So maybe he'll be extra inclined to swing and protect, knowing the strike zone of Mark Piantadosa.
Right side of the infield back. Here's the pitch. Fouled off by Cantrell to stay alive. 94 on the gun from Hofstra. This guy is absolutely pumping the fastballs in and registering high on the radar gun.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to check between this half inning is to see where that radar gun's at, if it's reading correctly, because on that strike 3 to Maisel, that came in at 96. Again, this is all according to what we're seeing on the scoreboard.
Hofstra comes to his set. Still 3-2 to Cantrell. Pitch outside, and Cantrell is going to take his base. He works the walk after running the count to full. Some great plate discipline by Hayden, and now there are runners on first and second for Blake Dunn.
So the Kettleers staff hadn't walked a batter through 4 innings, and now they've walked 2 in the 5th alone.
2 walks with a strikeout sandwiched in between. Dunn grounded out in his last at bat. First pitch he sees inside, runs in on the hands, and if he hadn't ducked out of the way, might have hit him.
Yeah, that one was about to hit his hands. Righty batter stays close inside on the batter's box, closer to the plate.
Dunn a couple of short swings before bringing the bat back up to his shoulder. Hofstra still checking on Moretto. Now the pitch. Dunn sends it back into center field, ranging over and making the catch. That's Hill, who moved his glove over out in front and to his left in order to make the play.
Blake Dunn just got Blake Dunned. Seriously, that's a ball that you think is down off the bat. I thought it was into the gap for sure in left center field, but Hill with a ton of range, got a good jump, a great first step, makes the catch on the run about 2 or 3 feet above the grass, and that's a play that we see a lot from Blake Dunn out in center, just tremendous range from the outfielder Hill.
2 down now for Zach Deloach with still 2 ducks on the pond, 1 at first, 1 at second. Hofstra deals the first pitch, misses high and outside. 84 on the gun.
Deloach keeping his new hit streak alive. He's got a 5-game hit streak and now hits in 12 of his last 13 games.
Zach said the team needed to regroup for that game against Hyannis, and they certainly did. Thought about it and didn't pull the trigger, but it's a strike either way.
I feel like he hasn't missed a beat at the plate. I mean, he has just been outstanding. 400 average and 60 at-bats. Unbelievable.
It's hard to do better than that. And Deloach has been a pillar of consistency in the lineup.
No doubt. 3-spot, unquestioned every night ever since his arrival in mid-June.
1-1, 2 outs. Deloach grounds it foul over past first base.
He's also scored the lone run of the game for the Commodores.
That run coming across in the last inning. They'll see if he can do it again here with 2 outs. One and two, the count to Deloach. Hofstra taking his time with the sign. Now he's got one. Comes to his set, checks on Moretto, the pitch. Deloach fights it off and stays foul for count remaining at 1 and 2.
This game's set to go about the average 3 hours. So we have 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning, marking about halfway through the game. 6:28 the local time. That sun was bright today, but it's finally setting.
And of course, no lights here at Lowell Park, so hopefully those 3 hours will be enough to get everything in with the sunlight. Hofstra working more deliberately now. Still 2 outs, the 1-2 pitch. Deloach, similar spot, fights it off. And is, as we've come to expect, having another good at-bat here to stay alive.
That's the thing about Zach Deloach is he can mimic your leadoff guy, he can mimic your cleanup guy, and when I say that, I mean he can work long counts and get a single. He can beat out a ball in the infield, but then he can show that tremendous power as well. He has such versatility at the plate, and he is such a tough out.
We'll do it all again with the 1-2. Deloach fouls it once again over to the first base side. It's either back into the left or over to first, and I feel like either he's seeing a lot of the same pitches or making sure he gets the same result before he finds his pitch.
Yeah, and Hofstra right now is doing nothing wrong. He's all in and around the zone. He's got a 1-2 count. He's only fired 1 ball. But Deloach just lining everything up and poking it foul, making it very frustrating for Hofstra, especially with 2 outs as he's dying to get out of the inning.
Cantrell still at first, Moretto still at second. Deloach tried to hold up. They'll say he did. It got away from Kessler, but he fires on over to first to complete the 3rd out of the inning. So a couple walks with 2 strikeouts on either end. That'll be it for your top of the 5th inning. We'll come back for the bottom right after this.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu.
Nick Gonzalez is going to lead things off for the bottom half of the 5th inning. Interesting note about Gonzalez. Last night, snapped a 79-game hit streak for
Not
Gonzalez.
hit streak.
On-base streak, excuse me. Yeah, that would be
hit streak would be
crazy
national
for him.
news
Yeah, exactly.
if he had done
On-base
it.
streak, excuse me.
But
That-
still
yeah.
insanely impressive. So he reached base in all 24 games of the summer of 2019 and in every single game his sophomore year at New Mexico State. That's unbelievable.
If you're looking for more things out of the leadoff man, he's best on the Cape at creating runs, 22.79 this year, which is 3 more than anyone else on the Cape. Both teams getting big things out of their leadoff hitters, but maybe none better, at least statistically, than Gonzalez.
Yeah, they want him getting the most at-bats with that 326 average, as well as 13 extra base hits.
Swings and misses at the 1-0. Nastrini went slightly off speed, hitting 80 on the gun there, and Gonzalez was out in front of it.
Yeah, usually when Nastrini fires the changeup, it ducks low right before it comes across the plate. That was a high changeup that Gonzalez was just way in front of.
The 1-1. Gonzalez grounds it over to Moretto, fields it cleanly, gathers, throws onto first, close but in time. Coots handles it, and there's one away.
It's got to feel good for Moretto, who had a hard hit ground ball off of his glove in the third inning. And that was off of Nick Gonzalez, so same direction. But Moretto gets the better of him. This time he takes his time on the throw to get the out.
Bring up Aubrey Major. Grounded out to Cantrell last time up. He'll send this one over to Jackson Coots. He fields it, flips on to Nastrini, and there are 2 down.
It's another 3-1 putout, and that time I think Coots could have made the play himself, but I love Nastrini's body language. He is always busting his butt off the mound to get to ground balls. We saw it on the bunt. We saw it his last time out against Cotuit. Sometimes you see the pitchers, I don't want to call them lazy because I know that they're working hard when they're throwing pitches, but defensively might not be running as hard. Nastrini, the exact opposite. He is a proven winner and someone who definitely gives his all in every aspect of the game.
Casey Schmidt fouls off the first pitch he sees in this at bat. Nastrini hit him his last time up. And for the most part, Nastrini doesn't show a lot of that body language. He's very composed on the mound, it seems like. He's not shaking his head or shrugging his shoulders every time something happens, which, granted, is not a whole lot, but still very composed nonetheless. 0-1. High, brought down by Claunch, but not enough. 1-1.
Yeah, that one almost hit Schmidt again. And I'm not saying he's, like, fired up, right? He's not, like, screaming or yelling like you're talking about. He's always very composed. It's just, like, it's the little things that he does. He's a hustler, I feel like.
1-1 is roped into left field. And that's a single. No, excuse me. Yes, it is a single for Schmidt.
Casey Schmidt with his first hit of the game, second time reaching base. Cruz had his glove outstretched as it went into shallow left, but no chance for the shortstop to make the play.
Cotuit is coming off a game where they dropped a 6-4 loss to Bourne. Bourne had beaten Falmouth and Cotuit in a row, so a team that was not very hot statistically coming in is beaten both these teams now and making these things a little bit more interesting divisionally.
Well, this is a big matchup for Falmouth and Cotuit because they're separated by just 1 point in the Western Division. So with a win, Falmouth would move into second in terms of points for the first time since early in the season.
0-1 just misses the low and left part of the paint. 1-1.
And Nastrini knows that this might be his last inning of work. He's putting a little bit extra on the fastball. Last two coming in at 93 and 94 respectively.
Lays off the 1-1, a nasty pitch from Nastrini.
That changeup is awesome. That one was on the inside part of the plate to Kessler. Freezes him up completely. Even if he swung, he probably would have been way ahead of it. I think that's his best off-speed pitch for sure.
Kessler was retired with a backwards K the last time up. 1-2 the count now. Lays off the outside pitch and very close, but not enough. Count evens at 2. Once again, 2s across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Nastrini trying to finish strong.
It's reminding me of that third inning where he had 2 outs and 2 runners on, and it looked like he was just trying to fire a fastball past this same guy, Colton Kessler.
2-2. Popped up. Shallow right center field. Both coming in. Dunn calls off Deloach and makes the catch. Little dicey there, but Dunn handles his business, and that might be the end for Nastrini. If so, it's been a tough battle, but a good one nonetheless. After 5, it's Cotuit 2, Falmouth 1.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Welcome to the 6th inning. Severn Lavenstein, David Korzanowski with you. 2-1 the score in favor of the Cotuit Kettleers. And pretty solid first inning from Bo Hofstra as he gets ready to take the mound against Trey Cruz, who has back-to-back singles in his first 2 at-bats tonight.
Trey Cruz, the Kettleer killer. He's got 2 singles, moves to 6 for 10 on the summer in just 3 games against Cotuit. And he tagged Sullivan for 2 hits. He was also the one, coincidentally, maybe not, who talked to Katie Florio about the Commodores' approach to Sean Sullivan. So he clearly knew what he was talking about.
He certainly did, trying to continue the success against Hofstra. First pitch he sees is low for ball 1. Cruz, the 6'2", 200-pound junior at Rice. 1-0 pitch, back to a similar spot in the dirt. Cruz, good plate discipline, not chasing.
Cruz, after 4 for 8 against Cotuit, celebrated his birthday the next day.
2-0, this is grounded over to the second baseman Gonzalez, throws on the run and makes the play. So the first time tonight that Trey Cruz does not reach base, he is the first out of the inning.
So we've got 16 outs for the Commodores, right, through 5 1/3. Just 2 groundouts.
Surprising.
That is surprising. We've seen the Commodores strike out a total of 9 times, 2 groundouts. So do some quick math. You got 4 flyouts.
I'm leaving the math to you. That is not my strong department.
I actually got it wrong.
We won't tell anyone. Claunch fouls it back and off to the right. Troy had that RBI, that sacrifice fly to center field in his last time up. Troy shows a lot of power, and it seems to be sort of, I don't want to bring in his game to be too narrow, but it's a lot of center field deep hit power.
Sure.
You saw that with that home run that was almost a dead center, and even that one was a deep fly to center field this time around. 0-1, fouled off, hard contact down right field.
We've seen some real heaters from these pitchers. Sullivan, Nastrini, and Hofstra, all low to mid-90s.
They didn't want to change things up, so to speak, with more of a junk ball pitcher, and they wanted to go with Hofstra, who has certainly had his own level of gas to speak of, that one coming in at 90. And in this league, to be fair, there aren't a lot of junk ball pitchers, but you sometimes see that change of pace. This one in the dirt, 2-2.
Hofstra with 2 strikeouts in his first inning of work. Walked 1 batter, though, in Hayden Cantrell.
Count even with 1 out. Claunch lays off, but that's a strike on the outside corner. Good for strike 3. He didn't like it. Claunch has been unhappy with the zone almost all night. But once again, Hofstra going with the heater, and it freezes Troy Claunch.
Yeah, Claunch, if I read the lips correctly, said no way on his way back to the dugout. Commodores got to keep that positive attitude, though, because they're just down 1. I mean, this game is not far out of reach at all.
And they've been getting base runners to that point. First pitch in the dirt to Taylor Smith.
Can definitely be frustrating with a zone that you might not like, but you got to take what you're given and then adjust from there.
One 0 to the designated hitter. He lays off the outside fastball at 93, but it's good for a strike. Clip the corner. Hofstra, like his predecessor, working in, then back out. 1-1 pitch. Back to that outside corner, but missed this time. 2-1.
Taylor Smith had a pinch hit AB last night against Hyannis. He struck out.
Laid off the 2-1 low. Hofstra now down 3-1 in the count. Maybe playing around with those last 2 pitches, see if he battles back to put one on target for Smith. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Smith, big fan and a miss. Every time he swings, you just think that if he connects, it's going out of the ballpark. Maybe to the moon, maybe to the next state. I don't know. Take your pick, but it's a hard swing either way.
Yeah, that was a home run hack for sure on 3-1. He had the green light. He almost had a hit in the 4th inning, but flew out to left.
Misses on the 3-2. He loses Smith, who's going to take first, so there's a runner aboard with 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
Jackson Coot's a guy who has struggled as of late as well, just 1 for his last 11. We saw his batting average in those limited ABs at the start of the month. He was around tops on the team, but he's down to 242 clip.
Not a guy who plays every day, but certainly can be a spark plug in that lineup. Sound defense, solid hitting. And Jackson digs in here, ready to see the first pitch from Hofstra, who threw over to Smith. Now here it is. Popped up, foul ground, third base side. Giving chase is Schmidt, but he won't get there as it hits just up and into the fence, that low fence over by the left field line.
Yeah, Cotuit did some remodeling. I believe within the past 3 years, they got a whole new backstop. They have a chain link fence, but it's, I don't know, it's nice chain link, if that's even possible.
No, it definitely is. It's got that coating around.
Right, it's got the green coating and the green paint. Lowell Park, a nice little cozy ballpark here in Cotuit.
0-1 to Coots. He lays off. Good decision, 1-1 as it missed the outside part. David, I wouldn't have guessed that I'd be talking about nice or not nice chain link fences if you told me that that was going to be a topic here today.
Well, welcome to summer ball. Here we go. We're not in a minor league stadium. We're not in a college baseball stadium, as ball 2 misses upstairs. But I don't know. Summer ball sort of has the more old school, I think is the right term. It has the more old school feel for sure.
2-1 the count to Coots, 2 outs, runner aboard first. Here's the pitch. Coots fouls it back and out just off to the left. Coots fighting hard, making sure that he puts up a solid at bat. He's even the count at 2-2.
You like Lowell Park? Where does it rank in the ones you've seen so far?
I like Lowell Park a lot. I like the scoreboard. I like the feel, as you said. I'm a big fan of having the woods behind the fences.
Yeah, definitely.
I could use some lights, but I'm not too picky. 2-2. Missed inside. Count goes to full. Now, I've heard big things about Orleans. Still haven't been there.
Oh, I can't wait. I was looking ahead at the schedule. Falmouth doesn't travel to Orleans until late July. I think 2 of their final 10 games are at Eldridge.
Should be fun. I'm excited. Here's the 3-2. Spoiled once again by Jackson Coots.
Yeah, and they're actually back-to-back as there was a rainout originally scheduled for June 21st.
Now, you and some of the other broadcasters have been very vocal about which uniforms and which
Yeah.
stadiums that you've liked
Yep.
the best. Obviously, with more experience in that department than I have, but some interesting decisions, but overall a very sound list either way.
Well, I know you like Cotuit's jerseys.
Big fan. 3-2. Coots grounds it over to second base. This is going to get through for a hit. And rounding second and heading to third is Taylor Smith. That was not a hard hit ball, but just too far for Gonzalez as it bounded by him. Ranging over to his right, he let it go. Coots has a single, a 2-out single that advances a runner to third base.
Okay, there was some weird conversations going on between the umpires on that play. Originally, I think the home plate umpire, Mark Piantadosi, said it was foul off the plate. It was not. But Vincent Medina, the third base umpire, was looking at the home plate umpire, made the same call. Eventually, Piantadosi up the third base line, corrected himself, said, "My fault. That's a hit." But I was befuddled for a good 25 seconds there. Nonetheless, 2-out rally for the Doors right now.
Check on Coots over at first. A little bit of an odd play, especially when you get two umpires with the same idea and they end up not going with it.
Well, they were all smiling and laughing and pointing at each other. I was like, what the heck is what just happened?
Moretto leaves one a little high, but called for a strike on the outside part. Moretto walked and got to second back in the fifth. Trying for the 2-out rally, the 0-1 high, 1-1.
This would be a big RBI, a little rally from hitters 6, 7, and 8.
More importantly, it would tie the score. Still 2-1 Cotuit. The 1-1 pitch. Moretto leaves it, but it's in there for a strike.
Yeah, and again, these two strike calls have been iffy. Moretto hasn't liked them, but at this point, Severn, it's the 6th inning. You just got to adjust. I mean,
go for it.
If you're Falmouth, you have to take the information that you've gotten, which is that this is a wide strike zone, and change your approach during the ABs. You got to be a little more aggressive and swinging.
Hofstra ready with the 1-2 pitch, but before he's going to check on Jackson Coots. This might be one of the better chances that the Doors have for the remainder of the game. They have been able to put those runners on, but once again, dealing with 2 outs, and they've got Smith at third. See what Steven Moretto, the 8-hitter, can do. Hofstra trying to get his last man here. 2 outs, the 1-2 pitch. Moretto tried to hold up, but he went around. That's strike 3. So after threatening with Smith on third and the single from Coots that got him there, Steven Moretto cannot bring home the run. We are still at 2-1 Cotuit as we head to the bottom of the 6th.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonials and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Lowell Park, 2-1, still in favor of Cotuit. We have a pitching change. It's Weatherly on the mound. He's coming in with a 5.68 ERA in 4 games pitched. 6 innings as a whole, giving up 4 hits and 6 runs. The man from Clemson getting ready to replace a solid outing from Nastrini. David, what'd you see?
Well, he was great. 5 innings of work, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. It's about par for the course for Nastrini, who's been remarkably consistent. I think that's the one thing I've noticed, is he gave up 1 run his last time out, 2 runs tonight, 3 runs the time before that. He's a guy who you can rely on to limit the scoring to 3 or less runs, I think. And I think he should be able to do the same for the rest of the summer.
They're going with this 6'3", 200-pound lefty. Going to be a junior at Clemson. Ready for the 6th inning. The first batter he's going to face is Joey Loperfido. Came around to score his last time up. Fouls this one off to the left.
So you mentioned the 5.68 earned run average for Weatherly. 6 1/3 innings of work, 5 walks, and 9 Ks. Hasn't allowed an earned run since June 26th.
A 1 pitch, nice breaking ball that fools Loperfido. Coach Trundy going with a man who doesn't give up a lot of earned runs to make sure that they can keep this thing close if they're able to get that 1 more to tie it. Reaches out, taps it over to Hayden Cantrell, fields it cleanly on to first for the first out. Loperfido almost went down to his back knee there to go out and hit that one. And just came up with it, sending it out to Hayden.
That's a good protective swing from Loperfido. In that situation, you got to make sure that you're trying to put the ball in play, not taking. And Weatherly works a quick first out.
So here in the 6th, we'll see if the approach changes as they get ready to face Weatherly for the first time. High breaking ball didn't break enough, and first ball here is to Mason McCorder.
He's been great tonight.
I was going to say, he's been a little bit of a thorn in Falmouth's side so far tonight. Reached base twice. Went back to the breaking pitch, and once again, just missed. It looks good. It's just not quite finding its spot so far. You expect that to change.
First curveball was way high. That second one was a lot better. Low and outside, just didn't get the swing.
2-0, Weatherly from the windup. The pitch, high fastball, and it's fouled away.
So McCorder from Georgia Southern had a .321 average during his junior year.
2-1 is tapped foul down the first baseline.
Second on the team in average this year, led him in home runs, RBIs, walks, and triples.
See that he hit 11 home runs last year, too. Count even at 2-2, 1 out. Weatherly shaking off a couple signs. He's got one now. Here's the delivery. This one lined into right field, but Deloach is under it. He makes the play.
Looks good off the bat from McCorder, who, despite going 2 for 3, has had a great 3 at-bats. Got a pinch hitter now, Severin and Donta Williams from Arizona.
Left-handed bat, 267, 2 home runs, 35 RBIs, I believe, from Arizona. First pitch to him misses.
Williams with a 189 average this summer. Does have 1 home run, though. Cotuit first in the Cape League in long bombs. They have 4 guys with 4 home runs and 11 guys who've gone yard.
Weatherly misses high again. Does have 2 RBIs on the season as well. 4 walks, 11 strikeouts. .2-0 from Weatherly. Missed high. Count runs to 3-0.
Williams a little bit smaller of a batter. 5'10", 170. It's a little bit tough for the large lefty in Sam Weatherly.
Launch sets up outside. Here's the pitch. It's a strike on the outside corner. 3-1 now. Weatherly, not slow, but taking his time. Now he's got his pitch. Claunch again sets up outside. The 3-1 is lifted high in the air. Going back in left field is Maisel. He's at the fence. He makes the catch. Leaning back over his left shoulder and coming up with the baseball. That does it for the final out of the inning in dramatic fashion. So it's Weatherly who comes on, and he does the job handling the pinch hitter for the final out of the inning. We'll head to the 7th right after this.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Welcome back for the 7th inning, 2-1, your score in favor of Cotuit. Before we get going again, Katie Florio has something for us on the pitcher, Nastrini. Go ahead, Katie.
Thanks, Everin. I just talked to Nick when he came out of the game. He said he felt really good out there, really composed, and gave it his all. And he certainly has a reason to say that. Went 5 complete innings and only allowed 2 runs. Also gave up no walks, so his command really on point tonight. He did exactly what he had to do to keep Falmouth in the game. Now it's just up to the offense to get more guys on and bring them around.
Thank you, Katie. Great hit as always. And doing what he needed to do is certainly the key point. It wasn't a bad outing for Nashri, not by a long stretch. It was a relative pitcher's duel at the beginning, and then just coming up on the wrong end of things. 2-1 is a pretty respectable score. At this point, we have 6 hits for Cotuit and 5 for Falmouth.
And Nick Nastrini saying that he felt composed. I think he looked composed too, and that's been one of the staples when he's on the mound. We do have another pitcher now for the Kettleers. And Kyle Nicholas, he's from Ball State, 6'3", 205. Entering his redshirt junior year out with the Cardinals in Indiana. He throws hard. He's like a Zach Brixey type. He can hit 100 miles an hour.
This is a weekend starter and a closer, so can do it all, and he's coming in here to do some relieving. And you can already see that radar gun, if it is indeed accurate, is registering some high numbers here for this flamethrower ready for the 7th inning.
What was it? I actually missed what it was saying.
It was high. It was saying 94.
Okay.
So I wonder if that's even all he's got. Maybe even can register that 96.
Well, he's got a similar story as Sam Weatherly. ERA is about the same for Weatherly, the pitcher most recent for Falmouth, and now Nicholas, who's on the bump for the Kettleers. He's got a 5.65 ERA, a 1-0 record in 14 1/3 innings of work. He's allowed runs in his last 4 outings.
Starts off Austin Maisel with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
And Maisel again has to be the first batter against a new pitcher.
Tough luck for Maisel after making that spectacular catch to close out the last frame. He sends this one over to the shortstop, and Oviedo crouches down to a knee before making that play without needing the hop.
Not what he wanted. Little squib shot that stayed up in the air, softly hit over toward Oviedo. It's the first ball that's been hit to the shortstop all night. I don't think we've seen a ground ball to short for Falmouth either.
Don't think we have.
That's really weird. I feel like that doesn't happen.
Back to the top of the order with Hayden Cantrell. He fouls off the first pitch. He a little annoyed at himself with that one, trying to get back into his stance.
97 on the gun, folks.
I wasn't lying, David.
Let's go. This is what Cape League's all about. You see these guys playing in summer ball against one another, and it is a relaxed environment, but the talent that you're seeing on display
It's really
is
fun.
just insane.
It's just fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
0-1 to Cantrell. High fastball that misses. Count even at 1-1.
Names like Chris Sale, Buster Posey, Jason Veritek, Kevin Youkilis. I'm just listing Red Sox, but
Low in the dirt and inside. Charlie Blackman, Reese Hoskins.
there we go. Thanks.
Can keep it going just all the way through. Some very impressive names.
Number 1 pick in the 2019 MLB draft. Adley Rutschman, 2017 Falmouth Commodore.
Now everybody's excited to see what he'll do in the Orioles system. 2-1 misses high. Once again, reading that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
What I'm curious about with Rutschman, with the Orioles being so bad, how quick do you think he'll get called up?
My theory is actually it won't be quick. I think
Okay.
they'll let him develop because there's no need to rush him up for a playoff chance. Of course, I'll probably be dead wrong as Cantrell sends us over to the second baseman. A dive for Gonzalez. He gets up and throws onto first. It was a hard hit liner that took a bounce, and Gonzalez laid out to his left and made the play.
Pretty play from Gonzalez, flashing the leather over at second. It's quick when you go full extension and lay out on the dirt to get up quickly and fire an accurate throw. Did that to perfection. 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th.
And your work is not done once you actually get the ball in your glove on the dive. Blake Dunn lifts this one into shallow left field. Coming on quickly is Robinson, but he's going to be called off by Oviedo, who makes the catch from shortstop position. That is going to be it for the final out of that top half of the 7th inning. So Cantrell with the flashy out to Gonzalez, and ultimately the doors go down without much noise. Coming back for the home half of the 7th inning right after our break.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Welcome back. It is the home half of the 7th inning here as Weatherly is getting ready to face the 8, 9, and then back to 1 hitters due up for this inning. David, we're going to have to wait another half, but waiting for some run support for Falmouth after what's been some pretty good pitching, just coming out on the wrong end of this one.
Right, and it's just been such an even game. I mean, you look at the hits, 6-5 in favor of Cotuit, the runs just 2-1. But right now, 1 run feels like a lot because the Doors haven't scored since the 4th inning. And since then, they've only got a few base runners. They had 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, go down in order in the 7th. But yeah, they're going to hope that they can tap one of the middle relievers and maybe the closer for Cotuit. This game's still very much within reach. But first things first, you got to get a hold from Sam Weatherly.
Christian Robinson going to be the first batter of this half inning. Robinson grounded out back to the pitcher in his last at-bat. Deep breath from Weatherly, now into his windup. Kicks, deals. Bouncing well before it got to Troy Claunch. That didn't even make it to the dirt before it hit.
Weatherly can be a little wild. Seen 5 walks in just 6 innings. He has at least 1 walk in every outing of the summer. He had 2 his last time out against Harwich.
Moretto in on the grass, rest of the infield back at a moderate depth. This one skied in the air, foul ground, giving chase are Coots and Claunch, but it ends up going back and over the stands. Weatherly begins that slow walk back to the mound, and it was interesting, small detail, but he's got Oregon State cleats on. They do look like they're those colors of Clemson a little bit with the black and orange, but obviously purple for Clemson, but you can fool some people, but if you get that close look, you can tell they're not quite the same.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, I know we hit on it when we talked about Matt Nelson a couple games ago, bringing their equipment from college. Makes for some clashing uniforms sometimes. Like if you have a guy with bright green cleats and he's playing for Falmouth, it's going to look a little odd.
1-1, just missed outside. Beg your pardon, count is 2-2 now. Claunch gives the sign. Pitch from Weatherly, defensive swing, and just got a piece of it. Robinson fights it off.
That one just grazed the head of the bat from Christian Robinson, who's 0 for 2 today. And Weatherly, his last time out against Harwich, got a little bit dicey against the Mariners. That was in a thriller of a game just 3 nights ago. No runs after the bottom of the 5th inning. Weatherly comes in, he walks 2 batters. He's got runners on the corners, and then he had 2 big strikeouts.
Count even at 2-2. Here's the pitch. Another bouncer that Claunch has to get in front of.
Yeah, he's just wild. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I don't know if it's something with the release point or the landing spot, but he's had plenty of pitches that have missed well out of the zone. He's either spiking them, sometimes his off-speed misses way high.
Keeping an eye on Coach Landry to see if he'll make a visit. No need for now. 3-2 pitch. Fouled off.
And with a wild pitcher fouling off pitches in the zone, you think Robinson is going to try to just wait for one more wild pitch and just take his free base.
See what he does here. Weatherly ready. The 3-2 pitch. Off speed. Roped into right field. And it gets down for a base hit in front of Deloach, who will casually pick it up and throw it back into Cantrell. Went with it and sent it into right field. Didn't need to wait for that base. He got that good pitch. It was sort of middle into 2/3 in and went with it.
Yeah, I think it was a curveball, lefty-lefty matchup for Weatherly and Robinson, and he was ready for it. He was sitting on it, got the hands around quickly, snapped it into right field.
So now we'll see Oviedo. Last man of this order. No outs, runner aboard first base. Weatherly, casual pickoff move. Very stylish as he was looking towards home all the way before kicking it out and throwing it to Coots at first.
It's unfair for lefties. They can just do so much more on the pickoff moves.
Weatherly from the stretch. Tall lefty shaking off 2, then 3 signs. Now he's got 1. Into the set, checking on first. Kicks, deals, bunt attempt. Pulled back. Strike either way, but Claunch was up from his catcher's position and ready to fire over to first if needed. Moretto was charging in on the grass at third base. He retreats back to the lip, where he will stay. Coots holding on the runner at first base. Trey Cruz and Hayden Cantrell shaded closer over to second base. 0-1 from Weatherly momentarily. Here it is. The bunt attempt shown. Pulled back, another strike. 0-2. Once again, Moretto charging.
I know this is a random thought, Severin, but it just popped into my mind. Commodores got to be thinking about the time, too.
This is true.
Because the sun is setting, so, you know, they think they have 2 more chances at the plate, but it might be less. If this inning drags, the 8th could be their last crack.
2.5 could be enough time, could not. See how it goes. Weatherly taking a little while, and then time is called.
Oof. Oviedo waiting till the last possible second to call for time. That'll throw off the pitcher a little bit. Weatherly had already been moving that front foot.
Weatherly waving at his face. Got to imagine that's the bugs. And then Jackson Coots is doing some surgery over on his first baseman's glove. No, excuse me, he's tying the shoe of the runner at first base, Christian Robertson. He put the glove down on first base, and behind it he was working on that front right shoe.
Coots.
Man of the people, Jackson
We love
Coots.
it. We love it.
To matters at hand, the 0-2 from Weatherly. Fouled back.
He's a funny guy. We've seen a lot of antics off the field, maybe not as many on. But that was pretty funny. That got some applause from the fans here at Cotuit.
Jackson's a great guy to talk to. Always pals around with us media members over there. And that speaks to so many of the guys on this team. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up just quickly that they're all such nice people in addition to being great ball players.
Definitely, and that's what Trundy is the most concerned about, honestly. He wants these guys to develop as men, not just as baseball players.
0-2 pitch in the dirt, nicely stopped by Troy Claunch. He's rebounded from a couple that got away from him earlier in the game, and he's doing a nice job here with almost cat-like reflexes as we close out this game. Runner still on first base, still no outs. Bottom 7. 1-2 pitch from Weatherly forthcoming. Here it is. Misses high and outside.
It's a good spot. Fastball high and away, really tough to put that in play if you're Adam Oviedo, but likely to get a swing. Oviedo's got a great eye, so he lays off. Adam spending his time at TCU, but he's transferring to a JUCO next year.
Two-two pitch. Off speed, just missed. Reaching out and grabbing it was Troy Claunch.
Spent the summer of 2018 in Cotuit as well, so the Commodores have seen him in a couple different seasons.
Full count for Weatherly. He takes a deep breath and then looks in for the sign. It's been a little bit tougher in this frame for Weatherly, but he's trying to battle back and get his first out of the inning here. 3-2 pitch. Off speed, got him! Good pitch from Weatherly. And nice frame from Troy Claunch on the outside.
Well, when that curveball's in the zone, it is high and looping, and it's tough to hit. Oviedo just frozen up. It paints the outside black, drops in at the knees. Beautiful punch-out pitch from Weatherly.
I think that's a perfect example of what you can see from him. While he might be a little bit wild sometimes, that's an absolutely beautiful pitch from Weatherly.
Yeah, his job now this summer is just to try to throw it more consistently.
Very short lead over at first base. Coots still holding on the runner. First pitch is low and inside. This is the second baseman, Nick Gonzalez, back up to face Weatherly. Working with one out, still a runner aboard. Weatherly checks on that runner. Back in safely is Robinson. Some short leads here today, David. I don't think a lot of trusting the process in terms of those pickoff moves. I think they're willing to give some space.
For sure, and Falmouth is a couple innings away from going 3 straight games without a stolen base.
1-0 pitch, bounces in the dirt, and Troy Claunch quickly up from his stance to go grab it.
Commodores entering the night with the most stolen bases on the Cape at 42. Cotuit at 7th with 27. They're a lot more conservative on the base paths.
Two and 0 the count to Gonzalez. High pitch at eye level. That missed in about the middle of the zone.
Yeah, and Weatherly, even though he's not in, I wouldn't call it a jam right now with 1 out and 1 runner on first, but he's throwing a lot of pitches. 6th inning was quick for him. Only had 1 count that went to 3 balls. In this half inning, he had a full count to Robinson. A long at-bat worked by Oviedo, also to a full count, and now he's got 3 balls to Gonzalez.
3-0, we'll see if there's a take. It is indeed, and that's Gonzalez taking his base as well. Runners now on first and second with only 1 out. And it's certainly not an ideal situation for Weatherly, as he's going to have a chat with Troy Claunch.
And this is a chance for Cotuit to really maybe put this game out of reach. They got 1 out and 2 runners on. Switch hitting Aubrey Major, one of the best hitters on the team, comes up to the plate. And he's 0 for 3 tonight, which, to quote the other broadcast partner who is absent tonight, Daniel Rose, he would say that majors do. That this is the time when, if he's 0 for 3 and he's got a plus 300 batting average, that means he's probably going to get a hit sometime soon. And this at-bat would be a perfect opportunity. An extra base hit could score 1, maybe 2. A home run would make it 5-1.
Major, the tall righty, digs in. Runners on first and second for him, only 1 out. First pitch from Weatherly, he shows bunt and ends up trying to throw it down, but the ball goes the way to his dugout.
Probably getting some signs from head coach Mike Roberts as he steps out of the box.
Roberts staring intently at his runner over at second. That's Robinson.
I don't know, though. If I'm Major and I'm up at the plate, or if I'm head coach Mike Roberts, I'm telling him to swing away. You got the lead. Try to let him do his thing.
Trying to see if they can extend that lead. 0-1 as Weatherly now gets his sign, comes to his set. Taps the right foot a couple times. Here's the pitch. Bouncing in the dirt once again. Good stop by Troy Claunch, making Claunch work here in this bottom of the 7th inning. Catcher from Oregon State is certainly proving that he has what it takes here, as he's had to jump up quickly a couple times to block the ball. Here's the 1-1. Inside. Couldn't tell if that hit him or not, but it got away from Claunch, and the runners will advance to second and third. Major is staying put, so we're going to assume that it did not hit him, or if it did, he's not telling anyone.
Yeah, I thought it hit his cleat. I thought I heard a grimace, and the ball took a weird ricochet, too. It went over towards the third base dugout where Cotuit is housed, but he didn't move to first. There was no call from Piantadosi, so just the runners move over to second and third, and now this is a great chance. A single likely scores 2.
Infield all in. Trying to gun down the run at home. Still 2-1 in favor of Cotuit. In danger, Falmouth is of allowing another run to score. Major calls time, wants to reset. Weatherly and Claunch want to get back on the same page. Two and 1 is your count. Weatherly has his sign. He comes to the set. Here's the pitch. Major fouls it. Tough grounder that was certainly had some heat on it that went past Moretto to his right.
So Weatherly has been locked down when he's been in jams as of late. I mentioned that circumstance against the Mariners where he's got runners on the corners and 1 out in a 2-2 ball game. Now he's got runners on second and third. This is when he wants that punch-out pitch.
Count even at 2-2. Infield still in. 1 out, here's the pitch. Major grounds it past Moretto, but foul once again. A little bit closer to that third base bag, but still on the wrong side of the line for him.
Major readjusting the batting gloves. He knows that this is a huge pitch coming up. Weatherly does as well. This could be the difference in the game. If you go up 3 or 4 and you're Cotuit, it might put the game out of reach.
An intense battle between pitcher and batter at this point. 2-2 is your count. 1 out. Pitch from Weatherly. Major pokes one into right center field, And that is through for a hit that scores 1 run and holds up another.
There you go. It's exactly what Major wants to do. Works a 2-2 count, fouls off a couple pitches, proves he's a tough out, and then slaps one into the gap in left center. Dunn was in a hurry. I'm surprised Roberts didn't wave around Christian Robinson. Excuse me. That's Nick Gonzalez. He has tons of speed. I don't know why you don't send him, but nonetheless, up 2. And that's a big hit for Major.
And it calls out Coach Mike Landry, who's going to have an extended talk with Weatherly.
Both looking out to right field as well. They might be making a call to the bullpen.
And for whoever decides to pitch or continue to pitch, now I believe that call is going to be made. You're going to be inheriting runners on first and third. Logan Hoffman is going to be the man called upon to solve things, and while we have a minute with this pitching change, we're going to take a break. Back on the other side after this.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Please remember to recycle your empty bottles, cans, and all other recyclable materials. It takes only 6 recycled plastic bottles to make a new baseball cap.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Welcome back. Falmouth Commodores down 3-1 to Cotuit. Logan Hoffman is the new man in for the Commodores. And David, I don't think there's been a better reliever, or at least there has. It's been close. Logan has been absolutely terrific so far. He's got a 9.93 ERA so far this season, and he's been absolutely dominant as a reliever.
He let up 1 earned run his first time out in 3 innings against the Mariners. That was the season opener back way a month ago on June 10th. Ever since, he has been even more locked down. He has allowed no runs in his last 6 2/3 innings of work. Walked some batters. He's got 6 walks, but 14 strikeouts. And his last time out against Brewster was maybe his best. 2 2/3 innings of work. He got the win. Walked 2, struck out 4, didn't allow a hit.
I think, David, the best way I would describe Hoffman, and please add if you think so as well, I think he's a no-nonsense pitcher. He goes up there and he does his job. He's not super flashy, but what's flashy is the stuff that he shows, and he does his job with spectacular skill and efficiency.
Definitely. He's a small righty from Munster, Saskatchewan. One of 2 Canadians on this team along with Steven Moretto. And he was the same at Colby College. 3.11 ERA his sophomore year, 89 2/3 innings of work. He's got that high looping curveball and the fastball with some giddy up.
There you see what looks to be that curve to start off Casey Schmidt, who singled back in the 5th. Trying to limit the damage after a run scored allowed by Weatherly. Still runners on the corners, only 1 out. Logan Hoffman trying to work his way out of this jam. Moretto still close to the grass. Coots holding on the runner. The 0-1, another curve that misses the outside part of the plate.
And you want to get out of this inning quickly if you're Logan Hoffman. I know that's easier said than done, but it seems like a while since the bats have been up at the plate. Cotuit gaining some momentum here in the 7th.
Hoffman peering in from the stretch. Comes to his set position, staring over at third base, and Gonzalez, now he delivers. This one popped up down the right field line, but tailing foul and into the trees.
Hoffman's got such a quick delivery as well. He barely lifts that front foot, and he just fires. That curveball on a string, I mean, it is lethal. The only time he misses with that, it's usually upstairs.
It can be dangerous to leave it high sometimes.
For sure.
That's what you hear a lot. Schmidt takes a couple of waves with the bat, now back up. 1-2 on its way from Hoffman. Here it is, another curve, and it's grounded foul. So far, a steady diet of off-speed pitches, including that lethal curveball, and Schmidt is trying to catch up to it.
I think it's his best pitch, and it's the pitch that he's most comfortable throwing. When he comes out and fires it on the first pitch to Schmidt, it shows that he relies on it quite a bit.
Has him where he wants him with 2 strikes, 1 ball. Short lead for Major over at first base. Gonzalez not being held on over at third. Focused on the matter at hand, which is the batter. A fastball from Hoffman, which bounces just foul after taking a high bounce at that over near third, and Moretto gave chase, but ultimately no need.
Cotuit's been great at the plate in this game. They've worked a lot of long counts. They did the same to Nastrini to push him out in the 5th. Weatherly as well to give him the early hook. It's a team that bats .249 as a unit. Second most hits on the Cape, first in home runs and runs scored, entering this matchup with their rivals.
Usually see Hoffman and Girard hand in hand. Girard was the one that they went with last time out in this park against Cotuit. Of course, a different situation where Falmouth was leading at that point. Checks on the runner at first, gets away from Coots, but enough to the point where he can grab it and stop the advance of Gonzalez from going any further. Pitching for Falmouth has been very good recently. The bats have come alive to a certain point, but a lot of times the trouble, early in the season at least, has been getting the run support in addition to the pitching. Today only 1 run to speak of. 1-2. Off-speed pitch that's bouncing up the first base line. Coots is going to go home with it. He misses. Troy Claunch is decked at home. He's still down. The ball gets away from him. The runner from first is going to head to second, and play is going to stop there as Major holds up at third. The run scores. Troy Claunch is still down.
Oh, man, that was a tough play to watch for multiple reasons. The first of which is Troy Claunch being down. Not often you see Jeff Trundy stroll out of the dugout, but he's going to check on his catcher, who sits up and grimaces. He was on the plate, and a slide in from Gonzalez. Coots fielded the ball up the first base line and was back and forth. He didn't know where to go, because if he fields it up the first base line, he's got to run back himself. Hoffman was not going to get off the mound in time, but he saw Gonzalez dashing towards home, so he throws home. It was high and a little bit late, so Claunch not able to catch the ball and move it to apply the tag. Instead, he gets decked by the lead cleat of Gonzalez. Just a hard collision.
Claunch now up on his feet, still grimacing, trying to test what looks to be, don't want to speculate, but that left leg, that left knee area, and he was straddling the plate trying to make the play, and it left himself a little exposed on that left side. He is up and moving, although gingerly.
Yeah, he's going to walk it out right now. Lost in the mix on that play. Moving over towards third is Aubrey Major, and Casey Schmidt all the way over towards second. Something else I noticed, all of the infielders quick to run in and check on Claunch. Hayden Cantrell first among them. Not much else you'd expect from the guy who I think basically has functioned as a captain. Showing great leadership during a tough play as well. Long pause here at Lowell Park, and another run for the Kettleers. It's now 4-1.
Claunch still trying to test that Left leg. Puts the helmet back on, but still not walking well. We're going to step aside and come back when action resumes. You're listening to the Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official bat and glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Ready to resume action as Troy Claunch has gone back to his spot behind the dish. Appears to be okay. Action is going to resume after a run scored amid the chaos that was that last play. It's 4-1 now, still only one out. Runners in scoring position for Cotuit at second and third. Major over at third base. Ended up scampering 90 feet away in that really unique play that you hope you don't see again for the rest of this one. Bouncer in the dirt that is stopped by Claunch.
So right now the scoreboard reads still no errors for either side. I don't know what the heck that is, because that should have been ruled, in my opinion, maybe a hit and then a throwing error from Jackson Coots, or just a fielder's choice and a throwing error from Coots. That's assuming that they would have gotten Gonzalez at home, which I don't think they would have.
1-0 hits its mark on the outside part of the plate.
But
Evens the count at 1-1.
Definitely a couple mistakes made by the Commodores. And despite that 0, at least right now on the scoreboard in terms of errors, they still can tighten up defensively. And it seems like even after big wins or on their win streaks, the defense has a couple mistakes that they can avoid.
Nice breaking pitch from Hoffman that finds its mark, 1-2.
Commodores with just a .966 fielding percentage. That's in a three-way tie for 5th in the Cape League. Cotuit just a hair below at .963.
Still surprising sometimes. Really feels like a defensively sound team. 1-2. Another curve that's popped foul. You've got a lot of guys within this infield and outfield that you know can make the plays. They're agile, they're fast, and they've got good glove work, but that fielding percentage just sort of catch you off guard.
Yeah, they've had games where they make multiple mistakes too, and they kind of compile on themselves. Bourne was one. They had 5 errors earlier in the year against YD.
1-2, swing and a miss. Hoffman battles back to get his batter. That was Colton Kessler, who fans and heads back to the dugout.
Loperfido comes up to the plate, and I know I've said it before, but you want to work this out quickly. You want to just use this momentum, get the strikeout to Kessler, limit the damage at 2 more runs here in the 7th, because this has been a long, long half inning.
And to your earlier point, David, the sun is going down. It's definitely noticeably darker here. First pitch to him, hits the outside corner for a strike.
My initial reaction, the sun is, about to set a little bit after 8 o'clock. I don't think they can get the full 9 in, because you still have to guarantee when you start an inning that the bottom half will get a chance.
0-1 to Loperfido, hits it sharply over to left field. Maisel is under it, and he makes the catch.
So maybe a little bit of time. You got sunset coming at 8:16 and a 3-run deficit.
So after a half inning they'd like to forget, the Commodores will come back and see what they can do down 4-1.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20 plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development, online at www.curry.edu.
Back here at Lowell Park, getting ready to start the 8th inning. Right now we have an unofficial time of 2 hours 41 minutes. Not exact, but it gives you an idea of how long this game has been to this point. And right now, Zach DeLoach is going to get ready to start things off. Officially listed 9 hits for Cotuit, 5 for Falmouth. They'd like to see that number go up, obviously in addition to the number on the scoreboard, just 1 run.
But you got the meat of the order coming up. So some possible chances for the Doors.
Maybe no one better to get things started than DeLoach. Ideally, you'd like to see some runners on base for him, but Zach, as we've mentioned, has been one of the hottest hitters, and they need his bat right now. Struck out back in the 5th. Popped it up. Foul ground. No chase as it goes into the stands.
Couple changes for the Kettleers defensively. Joey Loperfido, the designated hitter, moves to second base for Chris Gonzalez. Dante Williams, who we saw pinch hit earlier, goes out into center field for Cameron Hill.
0-1 to DeLoach, spoils it again, but he's down 0-2.
You know, because we might not get the 9th inning in, Severin, we're going to do a little, what I like to call around the Cape League.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, Danny and I get in our car every night. We actually drive the entire Cape every night.
The entire Cape? That
Swear
must
to
be
God.
a long drive.
I know, it's a long drive, and we do it right here with our listeners following along.
0-2, and down goes DeLoach. That's strike 3. Please, David, take us around the Cape.
I will. Bourne Braves back against Hyannis, this time at Durand Park. The Braves want some revenge against the Harbor Hawks because they were swept in a doubleheader on Sunday, and right now they're in front 2-0. Brewster on top of YD, who is ice cold right now. YD was tied for first in the division.
Here's a ground ball from Trey Cruz over to second base, on to first. A little bit of a stretch, but handled, and that's out number 2.
Well, before I continue, this is what the Commodores wanted to avoid. They're going down very quickly here in the 8th, and working quickly is Kyle Nicholas. But anyways, YD in danger of dropping their 3rd straight. Brewster trying to move up in the East Division standings. They're up 7-4 at Stony Brook Field. Orleans and Harwich out at Eldridge, 0-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. And Wareham up on Chatham, 4-0. With a win, Wareham would expand their lead in first place in the West Division.
I like that segment. That's a great segment.
Isn't it?
Which kind of car are you driving to get there so quickly?
I'm driving my 2000 Saturn, which you've ridden in multiple times. I think, right?
Absolutely. That one fouled straight back and hit the post right above us. It's amazing that you have that thing still running.
I take 0 credit. I just credit my auto mechanic and my cousin, who I call with problems and the just ungodly amount of money I've poured into
it must be
keeping
your
that thing
classic
afloat.
New Englander, I have a guy for
Right.
fixing that. 1-1 to Claunch. He grounds it past the dive of the third baseman and into left field for a base hit. Nice to see from Troy Claunch after that scary incident. He is okay, clearly enough to be able to get that single.
Yeah, slapped past the outstretched glove of Casey Schmidt at third base. He jogs down the line, maybe not as quickly as usual, but he's aboard, and the Doors have a chance to keep it rolling. Last thing I want to hit on around the league, though, the Anglers shut out at home last night against the Harwich Mariners, and that's where Falmouth will travel tomorrow. So last meeting of the year between the Anglers and the Commodores coming up tomorrow night. 7 p.m. is first pitch.
Now, officially, have we passed that midway point of the season yet?
We are
it's
officially
hard to tell
past
with
it.
all the makeup
This
games.
is 23 out of 44. So last night was halfway through the season. Doors on pace to go 24, 18, and 2.
Laid off the pitch, but that's a strike, the first one to Taylor Smith. 95 on the gun. Well, those standings become ever more important when you pass that halfway point. The Doors will keep checking on them, and got to think a strong performance in Chatham will be ideal.
Yeah, and the Commodores, if they can somehow muster out a win here today, would move into second.
0-1 falls in for a strike to make it 0-2.
But keep in mind, they still have 3 less games played than Cotuit and 3 less games played than Wareham. So factor that in. They're down 2 points on Wareham, 1 point on Cotuit. They have some breathing room as they make up these games.
0-2, framed on the outside, and no call. Kessler wanted it.
So the Doors right now with the best winning percentage in the West. Wins worth 2 points in the Cape Cod League. Ties worth 1. You can tie in games. They only play 1 extra inning, and if it gets too dark and they don't have lights at the field, they'll call it even if the score's even.
Some different rules here in summer ball. 1 and 2. Big cut and a miss, and down goes Taylor Smith for the third out of the inning. Aside from Claunch's single, no action for the Doors, and that's it for the top of the 8th inning. We'll come back for the bottom after this.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. We will now look ahead at the road coming up for Falmouth. And Severn, as we mentioned, games against Chatham, Bourne, Brewster, YD, Hyannis, and then a couple against Wareham. We haven't seen the Gatemen in a while.
No, we haven't.
It's been a long time.
Well, and of course you had that hail issue the
Right.
last time you were over at Wareham, and I do feel like it's been a while. You see some of these teams, and especially like Cotuit playing them so in such succession, and then sometimes there's a big gap. But that should be an important game against Wareham for sure.
So the Commodores have only played 1 game against Wareham so far this summer. So that means in their final 20 games of the season, they're going to play Wareham 5 times.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Another new pitcher for the Commodores. It's Shane Drohan from Florida State. He's pitched just an inning and a third. He comes in relief here from the Seminoles. He grew up in the Sunshine State and West Palm Beach. Pitched an inning and a third in a 5-6 loss to Chatham. Gave up 1 earned run, 1 hit, 1 walk, and struck out 1.
Falmouth going back to a lefty in what we don't like to speculate, but could be one of the final, maybe the final half, although there's still a little bit of light shining above the treetops. So we'll see how they decide to call this one.
It's so tough to call, right? I think you got to look at when the sun sets, right? You got to look at that 8:16 time here in Cotuit, Massachusetts. But, like, how can you predict how quickly the inning's going to go or if you can get it in or not? I think if there's any doubt that you can't, then you can't play it, right? Because say you start the 9th and the Doors score 4. and then it's dark by the bottom of the ninth, and Cotuit gets
Says,
one
wait a
less
minute, wait,
chance.
we don't get a chance to answer. Exactly.
Right. So I don't know. It's so tough, and I don't know what the umpire protocol is. But if I had to guess, I would wager that this will be the last half inning.
Well, the only litmus test I have is the one that was called in
Sure.
Brewster, and that was a little bit of a different circumstances where the sky
I
got pitch black.
Yeah, I thought the apocalypse was gonna follow.
Standing next to some of the players, I could hear Tim Tawa saying, "Man, I'm just going to go up there and guess."
Right.
So it was pretty funny. They did eventually call that. No guessing was needed, but not the same situation here today. First pitch misses for ball 1.
McWhorter might be player of the game for Cotuit. Single, double, and a long flyout.
Drowan goes to a curve and misses again, 2-0. .63, 200-pound lefty. 2-0. Tapped over to Hayden Cantrell, makes a slide, picks it up, throws onto first. He's safe. Not in time. Cantrell had to go with the razzle-dazzle to try to pull that one off and just couldn't quite get him.
Yeah, that's a really good play by the second baseman. I think a good call as well by Frank Auditor. Mason McWhorter busting down the line to make sure that he gets there safely. And now the 10th hit of the evening for Cotuit.
Dante Williams back in the box. Came in as a pinch hitter. Digging in from the left side. Runner on first, no outs. Here in the bottom of the 8th, he showed a bunt, pulled it back. It's a ball, 1-0. Flag out in center field is no movement, although you can feel a light breeze and the temperature shift just a little bit here at Lowell Park as things get a little bit cooler. Temperature was reading low 90s earlier today. Bunt shown, pulled it back, 2-0.
More on Drohan. We haven't talked about him a ton. He's one of 2 Florida State Seminoles to make the trip after their unbelievable postseason campaign and underdog run into Omaha. They were a 3 seed in the regional. That was the Georgia regional down in Athens, and they slapped the Bulldogs around twice. Mike Martin's final year, legendary head coach, most wins in D1 history. Drohan comes to town, a rising junior with a 3.66 ERA last season.
Bunt attempt was pulled back, 3-0.
He had a 3-1 record, 51 and 2/3 innings of work. Drafted out of high school by the Phillies in the 23rd round.
.30 pitch. Finds his mark on the outside corner.
Any guesses where he played last summer?
I have none for you. I'm hoping
If you
it's not
picked-
Alaska
If
again.
you picked a random town name and like a obscure animal, you'd probably be close.
This is too much for me. I give up.
The Lexington County Blowfish.
Misses, and that's going to be a walk. You've got to be kidding me with
I'm dead
blowfish.
serious.
That can't be a real thing.
It's a real thing. Lexington County Blowfish in the Blowfish in the Coastal Plains League had a 6 ERA. Only pitched 6 innings.
What is a blowfish? Is that a pufferfish?
You don't know what a
Same
blowfish
thing
is? Yeah, of course.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
So I did know. That's a great mascot. I bet the hats for that must be amazing.
No, they actually just put on a blowfish cap. They don't actually wear a baseball hat.
Even better. Runners on first and second, no outs. Off-speed pitch misses, 1-0. How'd he do with the blowfish?
He had a
Well-
6 ERA, only pitched 6 innings. The thing that he struggled the most with his freshman year and then last summer was control. His freshman year, he pitched just 4 innings, issued 10 walks. Last summer, 6 innings of work, 6 walks. This past year, he got the walk numbers down, fired 48 walks in 51 and 2/3 innings of work. But again, you want that walk ratio to be a little bit less than 1 per inning. And he was right about at that 1 per inning mark.
Gotta imagine being a late ad is always tough, but it's not like the guy hasn't been playing baseball. He's been playing it at arguably the highest level he can.
Right.
But fitting in with the team chemistry, sort of an established set of guys you go to, obviously they fit him in, but it's still got to be a new and interesting situation for him to try to fit in.
Yeah, I remember a conversation with Jeff Trundy earlier in the year talking about how he manages all the players that come, and he said something similar.
1-0, bunt attempt shown, pulled back, it's a strike. Succession of bunt attempts, lots of them.
Definitely, as Coach Mike Roberts still giving his signs, but Jeff Trundy said when the first guys get to town, you hope that they are good guys and establish a great team chemistry. And then when the next guys come in, you just hope that they fit in with that previous sort of gel that's already been set.
2-1 now the count.
And I think this Doors team, which has been pretty much finalized, no other permanent players are set to come to the Cape for the Doors. I think that they definitely have that chemistry. Seems like they all work together and have a good time.
Bunt shown, pulled it back, 3-1. How does it compare to last year, the chemistry, in your opinion?
Oh, that's tough. So I look at last year as a better roster. They had 7 guys drafted in the first round, and looking back on that, I'm surprised they didn't make. I mean, they made a great run, don't get me wrong. They made the West Division final. But they had one of the best rosters on the Cape, plain and simple.
3-1 is bunted down the third base line, but foul.
This team, I don't think it has as much like high-profile first 2 rounds draft talent, but I think the chemistry is about similar, and I would actually lean the chemistry, like the team vibe, might be a little better this year. I point towards the shenanigans during the interviews, and I don't know, they just seem to all really get along. Not that last year didn't. I mean, it's like comparing, you know, apples to apples with Jeff Trundy's teams.
3-2, hit sharply into center field. That's going to get well by Blake Dunn. Runner coming around, scores easily from second all the way, and Williams will score as well. Throw to third, out. They got Robinson trying to make it 3, but 2 runs score before then. Robinson got maybe a little bit greedy, and Williams scores, as does Mason McOrder. And 6-1 now your score in favor of Cotuit.
Yeah, this game feels all about wrapped up, especially now that this half inning is dragging on with just 1 out and the sun continues to set. We're just at about 8 p.m. and there's no way that they'll get a 9th inning in. So the Cotuit Kettleers add on 2 to their run total, and Shane Drohan, that's not how he wanted out number 1 to come by. As you said, Robinson getting a little greedy. He definitely had a double, tried to stretch it into 3.
It was well hit, but good job by the Commodores of getting it back in quickly and in a way that was heads up and looking for that out at third, but obviously not ideal having those 2 runs score. 1-1 now the count.
And Drohan, who was having trouble finding the strike zone, it's always dangerous, especially as a middle reliever, because then you have to start peppering the strike zone, but the hitters know that. So they know that they're going to get a juicy pitch sometime soon for a guy who's wild.
Finds a strike there, 1-2.
That's exactly what happened on the Robinson count. He was down 3-1, was Drohan. Had to fire a couple get-me-over pitches. Left one too far over the plate, absolutely smoked into left center.
1-2, tapped foul. Oviedo representing the bottom of the order. Then it would be back to the top. Gonzalez has not come out in the lineup in the on-deck circles, so it would be a pinch hitter. This one grounded back up to Trey Cruz at shortstop. He gathers and throws onto first. It's out number 2. So I believe
this is the pitcher.
I believe this is indeed the pitcher. Kyle Nicholas is going to take some hacks at the plate.
43 versus 43, and Cotuit happy right now as the pitcher gets his first chance at the plate all summer. He's got a 5.65 ERA. Pitched over 15 innings this summer, but this is his first time at the plate.
Up swinging, but can't connect on the first one he sees. The entire Cotuit dugout is on the fence. His teammates in the bullpen standing, cheering him on. High breaking pitch that doesn't really break and count even at 1-1 now.
And I know this is fun for Cotuit, but this feels like when you're getting blown out in a basketball game and they put in the walk-ons.
1-1, grounded sharply over to Hayden Cantrell. Has to go into the slide. This time he can make the play. A nice stretch from Jackson Coots, and that will get the third out of the inning. Cotuit tacks on 2 more and a commanding 6-1 lead as we end the 8th inning.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more. The Colossal Lobster Rolls are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Welcome back. We are going to start this 9th inning of action, and David, we were curious to see if we were going to be able to get it in, but they are indeed going to go ahead, and Jackson Coots is going to be the first batter for Falmouth.
I mean, they're going to try. We don't have as much experience at the 5 p.m. start time ballparks, but I keep playing what if, right? Like, what if Falmouth goes on a tear here, and then they score 5 or 6, and it will be dark by then, especially if they score 6 runs.
Well, they have to get there first, and Coots will look at a ball. Maybe they're planning on the fact that it'll be only 1/2.
Right, that's what I was thinking is maybe they're just banking on the fact that they can get these 3 outs. Basically, they're banking on the fact that Falmouth won't do that.
That one roped into right field and misplayed by the right fielder. Jackson Coots is going to think 2. He's still thinking 2, and he's going to get there standing up as it took a while to get into the field of play. It still is only just being walked back, and that's a double for Jackson Coots, or potentially a single with getting a second on the error. We'll see how they score it.
Yep, that's the first error that goes up on the scoreboard. It's a single and an error by Aubrey Major out in right. Jackson Coots moves to second base, and here we go.
Surprised to see that being the first error on the board.
Same. Me too.
Nevertheless, they'll take it. Coots at second. That was a well-hit ball that now brings up Steven Moretto with a runner in scoring position. You wonder how well they can see the ball at this point. Certainly in dusk, twilight-ish, if you will. The shadows, if there are any at this point, still not a whole lot of light coming over the trees, but Steven Moretto, nevertheless, is going to dig in. From the stretch, the pitch, hard hit foul ball down the right field line.
So I was looking up more about Kyle Nicholas to see if he's a two-way player at Ball State. He is not. He's come in as a pinch runner a couple times, but he has never gotten an AB in his college career.
Big cut and a miss from Moretto, and that kind of cements what you were talking about with sort of feeling like it's not ideal to see that, not really.
I mean, it's fun if you're Cotuit, don't get me wrong.
No, but
I don't
for
think
Falmouth, it's not really a.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
It's not fun.
0-2 the count to Moretto. No one holding on Coots at second. The pitch hit the outside corner, but no call. 1-2.
Well, this is a 5-run ball game in the scoreboard, but this was really a much closer game than that. It was 2-1 for a majority of this game, but then in the 7th and 8th, the Kettleers add 2 in each.
Moretto held up, evens the count at 2-2.
And I really look at the 7th as that difference. Runners on second and third. Really, you got first and second first with Aubrey Major coming up to the plate. Then you get a pass ball, moves them to second and third. Single scores 2 runs, and that was the difference.
Strike 3 called. Steven Moretto not happy about it. That strike zone has been a problem for Falmouth all night long, and he goes down with a backwards K for the first out of the inning.
Third strikeout for Moretto as well. He also walked in the 5th. Not a great night for the third baseman.
Austin Maisel with a chance to drive in Coots from second. Maisel has had some tough work today dealing with being the first man to see the pitchers, the new ones that is for Cotuit. He looks at a high pitch for ball 1. Maisel does have a single on the night. 1 for 3. Big cut and a miss at the 1-0.
It's a good fastball from Nicholas. Maisel put everything he could into that swing, but he can't connect.
One's across the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. Pitch to him, fouled back.
You mentioned that scoreboard. It's a little small. It doesn't have like the inning by inning that most scoreboards usually have. It's like a 2x3, if you will, with just the runs, hits, and errors for each team. And then the count and out up top.
1-2, too far outside to the lefty Maisel. A lot of nice scoreboards around the league that, you are right, do show more of that information.
Tomorrow night, Veterans Field, new scoreboard. That thing is
ones.
shiny.
2-2, popped back and foul. Maisel will step out, readjust the batting gloves. Well, Falmouth will see if they can readjust and go at it again when they face Chatham. Still some time to mount a comeback here with 2 outs to work with, but that time is slowly closing. Maisel will chop one over to third base, but foul.
He's working a long at bat right now. That's what Austin Maisel does. Not going down easily as he and Coots each have had a pretty good game at the bottom of the order. Those are 2 guys who I think are very similar in a lot of ways. They've made the most of their opportunities at the plate. Both temporary players who, to cut right to the chase, were expected to be cut once everyone else came to town.
Too high for Maisel, and he goes down chasing the high fastball. Second out of the inning. Just to finish off that thought, David, too, I have a lot of respect for the guys in baseball who don't play every day, but are sort of those utility guys who you can call on. You know, Maisel can move all over the outfield. Coots plays first base and outfield, and they can come right in and produce the plate and defensively. I have a lot of respect for the guys who can do that.
Yeah, I agree. I can't say it much better. But those are 2 guys who've just had such a great attitude, too. Like, even when there was the threat of being cut, neither of them batted an eye.
Swing and a miss from Hayden Cantrell. Commodores down to their last 2 strikes.
Nicholas with some giddy up on this fastball. He knows that he's staring another Kettleers win in the face.
Another cut and a miss from Hayden, and now the final strike awaits the Commodores.
Not often you see Hayden Cantrell behind on a fastball a couple of times. He's behind on the first pitch, and then, according to the radar gun here, Nicholas upped the MPH a couple more on the second pitch, and Cantrell was behind again.
The fans are clapping, ready for this one to come to an end. The 0-2, high and outside.
So again, for your standings implication, if you look at the Western Division, Cotuit with a win tonight would move back 3 points ahead of Falmouth. Wareham, who's ahead on Chatham, would be an even 4 ahead.
Cantrell ready, the 1-2. Lifts this one to left field, going back. This is caught. On the run and making the catch. For the final out of the inning is Robinson. That is your ball game. Falmouth, after the big win in Hyannis, they drop one to Cotuit at Lowell Park. 6-1, your final score. Quick recap for you. It was a pretty strong start, David, by Nastrini, but when it comes down to it, run support, something that was a little bit of a struggle tonight.
Nastrini, in his third start, goes 5 innings, gives up just 1 earned run. I think you look at him as a very solid third or fourth option in your rotation if you're Falmouth for the rest of the summer. And he's fresh. He barely pitched in his freshman year with the UCLA Bruins, so he could be here until the Commodores hope mid-August. But yeah, run support. I look at the runners left on base for the Commodores. They left runners on base in every inning except the first and the 7th, totaling out at 9. Again, it doesn't jump off the scorebook at you, but just one area of improvement that the Commodores need to take advantage of in the coming games.
That 7th inning, a little bit of a struggle, maybe some defensive woes that they'll look to straighten out when they take on Chatham. Final is 6-1 once again. 11 hits for Cotuit, 7 for Falmouth. 1 error on the board for Cotuit. Big thank you to my broadcast partner, David Korzanowski, to Jamie Miller, our producer, to Katie Florio, our sideline reporter. It's been fun, everyone. I'm Severin Lavenstein saying so long from